doesn't mean if you write the will, you are going to die tomorrow. It just maybe mean you are getting organized. Thank you very much. I will give this platform to our presenter, who is Dr. Pfumoro. He is a lawyer by profession. So I think it is going to help us because wills are binding documents. Let me not say what I don't know, but maybe you should tell us in terms of how these wills are prepared. Thank you.
He spoke at length. Bagaetsho, kabuku. It's not picking. Hello. Nyaka bukutshwane bagaetsho. Kwa go buiwa ka di wili ke eng ka Setswana. Ka dikeletso tsa moswi. Dikeletso tsa moswi tse di mo mokwalong. Dikeletso tsa moswi tse di mo mokwalong. Wa semolao. Wa senela ruri. Ke sone se ra go tswaledisang ka sone se ne se buiwa mo mosong gore re kwale dikeletso tsa rona re santse re tshela gore mo bosiong ja rona go se ka ga nna le mathata a re ka hemang ka go kwala dikeletso tsa rona ka bokhutshwane. I don't know if we can just say another prayer before you start, because I think some people did not understand what the meeting was about. I'm looking at our mothers this side. Maybe we can pray before our lawyer starts. Ne ke kopa gore rapele ke kopa gore Moruti Matwetwe, you are far from us. We want you close. And the windows can be opened here. You can come closer to your congregation with our brothers. They will feel your warmth. Maodoyo, come closer. Come duze. In the belly, you say, come duze. Come duze. Come closer. Get out of the sun, my mother. Come this side. There's shade this side. Okay, thank you so much. Over to the speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, church. It's afternoon, not evening. Good afternoon, church.
Ra la amogela phuthego ya Modimo.
Perhaps they so hot that I thought perhaps it's now evening.
Setse le phirimile ka sekwena le phirimile.
Yes, today is an Armor Day.
Tsatsi le lokela borre ba masala.
And we are focusing on a guide to Christian estate planning.
Re bua ka go kwala le go rulaganya tsa dithoto tsa motho a santse a tshedile.
And we are focusing mainly on wills, trust, and retirement plans.
Go ha re lebagane le kgang ya sekeresete mokgwa wa go kwala dikeletso tsa dithoto tsa motho e bong dipelo tsa dithoto tsa gagwe le dikeletso tsa gore di dirisiwe yang le ha motho a latlhela tiro a itlhokomela yang le ba lelapa la gagwe a setse a latlhetse mo tirong.
I will start by recapping what we learned in the morning.
Ke batla re ikgopotsa pele se re se ithutile mo mosong.
Those which we said take away at the end of the morning.
Ha re ikgopotsa se re se ithutile mo mosong se latela jana.
Yes. So in the morning, we learned that death is certain, is sure.
Mo mosong re ruraheditse gore leso ke la mongwe le mongwe.
And we also learned that planning is a spiritual responsibility.
Mme re ithutile gore go loga maano kana go rulaganya tsa matshelo ke so se leng gore ke boikarabelo ja motho mongwe le mongwe.
And that a good steward should have estate planning.
Thulaganyo ya botshelo ja motho ke konokono ya bolebelebedi.
And we also learned that we should not delay making these wills.
mme ga gona nako e re nang nayo re ka be re sa bole rotlhe go dira dithulaganyo tse.
And we should provide for our loved ones in our wills.
Mme go botlhokwa gore baratwa ba rona re ba tlhokomele ka mekwalo yone re ba dibele.
And most importantly, we saw that these instruments should provide for God, family, and less, for God's cause, family, and less privileged.
Mme re dumalane gore mekwalo e phuthang dithoto tsa rona le ka ha di ka tlhokomelwang ka teng kana re di neela ba e leng bajaboswa di tshwanetse gore di sekaseke ka ha wena go batlang go direla modimo ka teng, wena ka ha o batlang go direla ba lelapa ka teng mmogo le ba dikobo dikhutshwane.
And the emphasis was that making of these instruments like wills is actually in line with God's will.
Mme thulaganyo e ke thulaganyo la sele godimo.
Yes. Yeah, the next one.
Ra leboga.
That was for the morning. We're going to go on. So, yes. We're going to go to the next one. Yes. So now we are focusing on the actual instruments.
Jaanong re lebile gore thulaganyo e dirwa ka haraka kana ka sedirisiwa sehe.
Namely, the first one we are saying, assume you don't have a will, don't have a trust, and you die. How will your estate or your property be administered?
A re tsele gore ra robala ha re tswa ha re sna mokwalo wa dikeletso tsa rona. Dithoto tsa rona ha re ka robala di a go hella di tshwarwa jang.
Yes. After we see that, then we will go to discuss the will, the trust, and retirement funds.
Mme ha re tswa go lebella gore motho o sa dirang mokwalo wa thulaganyo ya dithoto tsa gagwe go diragala jang ka gone ha go sena mokwalo o. Re tla leba ba nang le mokwalo le ba nang le dipeelo tsa dithoto tsa bone le ba leng gore ba tlogela tiro ba na le dipeelo tsene ba ntse ba di ipeela ba bereka.
Let me also emphasize that we live in a very complex world.
Ke batla go le tlhagisa gore lehatshe le hetogile.
And the families are not the same.
Le malapa ga sa tlhole a le ka tlholego e re itseng ka yone.
Sometimes we have someone who is just working and is on his own or on her own.
Re ka nna le mongwe ke yo a bereka o nosi o eme ka bonosi.
There are also families with one parent.
Go na le malapa a iphitlhelang a na le motsadi a go ga lelapa le esi.
There are families which are blended families.
Go na le malapa a re a bitsang a United Nations a phuthang bana le batsadi e nna seo se le sengwe hela.
Where someone would marry perhaps later on in the 40s, 50s, and so they have their own children and they are marrying someone with their own children. And they become a new family. You also have families which are still very young. And the others, they've got grandchildren.
Me malapa mangwe ka a na le dithoto tse leng gore di ka tologa gonna bana dikokomane hela tse dintsi tsa di generation tse tharo.
So the instruments or solutions which one may need, they differ according to their own personal circumstances.
Jaanong ka re ile re wa molao didirisiwa tsa bone tsa semolao ga di tshwane di lebagane le seemo se di bereka mo go sone.
And also depends on property to be administered.
Mme gape di arologangwa ke gore dithoto tseo di kgobokantswe go dirisiwa molao o ntseng jang.
Some
Di le
will-
gore ra tswelela. I was preempting you, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Eh.
Some would have vast companies, complex structures.
Dithoto tse dingwe di ka tswa di logilwe ka melao e leng gore e gokaganye le melao ya kgwebo, melao ya dikago e matswakabele.
And some will not.
Ama dithoto tse dingwe di mo tlhogela.
Yes, so these instruments are not one size fits all.
Jaaka re
After
buile-
knowing what they are, then one may try to think which one is good for me.
jaaka ke le ramelao yana ke a tshwanetse go thopha gore dithoto tse tsa ga rekgama a di tlhoka semolao se se mothoho se ke ka se gokaganyang gwanana kana ke tshwanetse go balela ko teng gore ke golole dithoto tsa gagwe mo go ba di ba lebaganyeng.
Okay, let's go to the first question.
O tswanta
What happens if someone dies without a will, without trust, without any instrument?
a re akanyeng gompieno re le mmogo gore go iragala jang ha motho a ka robala a sena mokwalo o laolang dithoto tsa gagwe.
Yes. Okay, it's the next. The next one. Yes. So if someone dies without a will, their estate or property will be administered either under customary law or under common law.
Yaanong go na le lehoko le la sekgowa gate intestate succession.
Yes,
Yaanong
where
ga-
someone dies without a will, yes.
ke raela gore they must recognize it, the Setswana speakers a kare interstate succession go ta ha motho a sena mokwalo o a bang dithoto tsa gagwe ka sekgowa gate interstate succession.
Yes, so if someone dies without a will, their property is administered either under customary law or under common law.
Jaanong ha o wela mo go yone interstate succession o sena lekwalo le la bang dithoto kana dipeelo tsa gago di a boa ka melao e mebedi e harologanyeng. Go na le molao wa lekgotla wa Setswana le molao wa sekgowa kana go ka te common law o re wa nyile mo maburung.
Yes, so customary law, if you are a tribesman, then customary law of your tribe will apply.
Jaaka re ha tlhalosa gore customary go ne go twa go tene re le di-customera tsa maburu le makgowa yaanong ba re thusa re le beng gae a o mokgatla a o mongwaketse ba re thusa ka letsone la gago la Setswana kana la sa Afrika kana la setho.
Yes, so even if you are not from Botswana, you don't belong to the Botswana tribes, but you are an African, you are also a tribesman.
Jaanong molao a kana ke bua ke wane go thusa batho ba letso la rona la sebilo ka one ke ba ne ba tlile gore le tsamaisetsa le ha o ka tswa o le motho wa lebopolo la rona le mme o tswa ko mahatsheng a sele molao kono o le motho o a getseng ba re tshwanetseng lehatsi wa go applyela wena o le if you come here it applies to you.
Yes, then common law it's for those where customary law does not apply.
yaanong ba le sa weleng mo di-tribe kana merahi e yone e tlhokomelwang ke makgwa le maburu le ne le boela gone ka
I'll just give an imaginary example. For example, a Chinese person has come and he dies without a will in Botswana. So common law apply to them because customary law does not apply to them.
ke ntlha ya botlhokwa ka gore ga o se motho wa letso la sebilo o le letso kana ke la rona la sesarwa la ma-China kana o le motho wa letso la sejeremane la ma-India o wela ka ha letlhakoring la batho ba e leng gore ga se ba lebopo la rona la sebilo.
I'm beginning to like my interpreter. I can see she amplifies, right? She amplifies the points. Okay. So that's what happened. So I don't know how far do you like your property to be shared according to the customs of your people.
Nyame re utlwile gore wa botsa tota gore re kwadile dikeletso tsa rona jang.
I don't know whether it is so clear cut that it avoids any fights, any doubts, any dispute. It's so clear as something which is written down.
Wa botsa our esteemed lawyer gore a mme mokwalo wa gago ga o kitla o losa le bone ba ba o dirisang ba ba go thusang ka one.
Yes. So that's a reflection. So the question now I'm posing to you is that, do you think this is adequate or you think this is not adequate for you in that state just for your property to be shared like that according to your custom?
Wa botsa gore o tla letlelela gore o nne hela o laolwe ke se buileng gore sa diragala o sena mokwalo.
In answering the question, there's a hint. Remember what he said in the morning about the cause of God, of your beloved ones, and the less privileged. In answering the question, you should tell us whether it fits that framework, your customary practices.
Me re yo o boela ko ne ke seo mo mosong me re libile Old Testament ka re my esteemed lawyer gore modimo o tla pele ka re
Yes.
se ba le lwapa go tele ba e leng gore modimo a re ba tlhokomele.
Yes, let's just discuss 2 minutes so that I can see that we are together. I always want us to go together. Anyone who wants to comment?
Ba batlang go akgela. I'll start with
It's according to your customary law. Wherever you're coming from, there's a custom, right? Yeah, the customary law of your people. Anyone who wants to tell us what happened in their customs if someone dies, how do you share property? Oh, there's a hand there.
Okay. Under customary law, if there's no document that has been prepared, the children of the disease, they sell, if let me say maybe if there is just one property, like if it is a field, it is sold and the money is shared. But if it is, let's say maybe if he had 2 children, or maybe he was staying with her child and the other one. The one who is her biological child is the one who is supposed to be given that asset that is left. It's just automatic. He's not going to fight with anybody because he is the biological child. But if there are many children, it will be sold and shared equally.
Our mother, Maruna Hale Are, Kaina Talokanya Mola Gating, highly Timo, Ba Eling, Banaba, Mekana, Reu, Hakisur Kikaring, Kasena Makanaka, Hakisi, or biologically king. Ke bone ba eleng gore ba kgaogana tshimo eo.
Yes, I don't know.
Gate ke letso la eng la sekgatla la setswapong o tswa kae mmaetsho? Give mommy the mic to explain to us.
Ke mokgatla ke tswa Moshopa nna.
Thank you very much.
Eh,
Elder
kera-
Mazond, because we have spoken, you can continue speaking now. Give the mic to Elder Mazond. Oh, there was, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to suggest that people should say which custom they are talking about because they slightly differ. I know some customs where it is obvious that the last born takes the home. Yaniki Tiger, that one is my custom.
And I don't know whether you are the last born. Okay.
Yaanong ngaka hale ngaka bana na rare kana dingwao ga di tshwane jaaka re itse ka sengwa ketse gote mojamorago ke kgosi.
Yes, any one person who wants to, there's two hands there, 1, 2. Then we proceed.
Good afternoon. Not that it's my custom, but also just to point out that I guess there are instances where females are also, they don't inherit. And if you're married in a particular, maybe you're married, they won't consider you. Your father that doesn't then consider you in terms of his will.
Okay.
Ipulele leina mama mme hale ga ke itse lentswe la gagwe le ha ile tebego ga gagwe naka are go na le matso kana ga ke tsora go na le go la matso but go na le merahi e leng gore le ha le bana ba motho bana ba sesetsana kana ba sesadi ga ba balelwe mo bosweng ke tsela go ra mo baebeleng ya kare nya le ha ba sa nyalwa. Please don't put words in her mouth. No, she didn't say that. She said the women in that family do not inherit. She never said anything about marriage. Did you say that? Ma? Huh? Yeah, but you never mentioned married the first time. They're talking about it. You never talked about it. You did? Oh, okay. It's only the married ones that don't inherit. Okay, married females do not inherit in the patrilineal distribution of the estate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. For women, it has been challenged in the courts now, and the courts say it's discriminatory. So it's, these things happen, but some people don't challenge them, right? But if you now challenge them to the courts, it's now known that it's no longer allowed to discriminate between males and female, even if it is culture. That culture is deemed to be unconstitutional. Yes.
Yeah, but that was the biblical culture as well. I mean, we're not taking it far from the Bible. The Bible doesn't count the women in the heirs. Yeah, we don't want to take it to any other tribe, but the Jewish tribe.
Yes, but now our current understanding is that women, they also inherit because we are in a constitutional state. We are
Yes.
not in a theocracy.
Thank you, my esteemed council, senior council. Botswana is not a religious state. We are led by the constitution where male and female inherit, not like the Old Testament. Thank you, council.
Yes. Thank you very much. So I think from the contributions, we have seen that there is a lot of variations in the cultures. And that usually the culture, people inherit in their personal capacity, and there is no room for God and the less privileged. It's only about the person, individuals.
O boela molaetsa wa phakela gore thulaganyo ya sele godimo ya re modimo pele mme gape ga go tsena ba lelwapa le wena o tshwentse gore o le tlhokomele modimo a laola gore le tlhokomele lelwapa le lone be le tlhokomela ba tlhokang tlhokomelo modimo a atolosa letsogo la gago gore o ba tlhokomele.
Okay, so to avoid this, there are too many instruments you can make so that your wish, not the practices. Because remember, customary law is the wish of those. It has been practiced by the tribe for so long, right? So it's not your wish really. It's something which you find there.
Ya no mogakolodi mogolo wa rona wa phuthego ya centrale a re di dirisiwa tsa semolao di hela di tsenya le setho mo teng go bo go tlhakatlhakana.
So the two instruments we are considering, number one is a will, and then a trust.
Ya no moeteledipele wa rona o re gakololang re le hatshe la Botswana mo semolaong a re mekwalo e tsepameng e ka dirisiwang ke mokwalo wa dikeletso tsa gago le mekwalo ya gore dithoto tse di setseng o eletsa di tlhokomelwa di tsamaisiwa jang.
Yes. So what is a will? A will is a document containing your instructions and wishes as to how your property and assets are to be distributed after your death, and signed in compliance with the various formalities of the law.
Jaanong mogakolodi wa rona wa phuthego a re mokwalo wa keletso wa gago ke gore o bo laola dikeletso tse o batlang di diragala gore dithoto tsa gago le dipeelo tsa gago di abiwe jang mo boseong jwa gago go dirisiwa tsamaiso ya semolao ye ntseng jang.
So from this definition, number one, a will should be written in writing.
So sa ntlha se se ka tlhomamisang ke gore keletso tsa gago di kwalwe.
Yes, and these requirements are found in a law called the Wills Act.
Mme mokwalo gore o kwalwe ke ka ha molao wa Botswana o eletsang ka teng gore keletso tsa gago di kwalwe ha di builwe hela ga di na boleng.
Yes, and this law is very simple to follow. As long as you can comprehend English, you understand it. It's simple.
Go botlhoko hela o ka kwalelwa le ha ile go khotleng ga se sepe hela se ntshang mokola.
Yes, so that's where you put your instructions or your wish.
Jaanong ke gone mo go tlhokegang gore le ha o ka tswa o le segole kana o palelwa kana yang dikeletso tsa gago wa di tlhomamisa ka mokwalo.
So you list all your property.
O simolola hela ka go kwala dithoto tsa gago tsotlhe.
Whether
dipeelo tsa gago.
it is immovable property like houses, it can be movable property like your cars, your cattle, can be property we cannot touch, like your shares, your stock, all those are properties to be included in a will.
Jaanong dithoto tsa gago di ka harologana ya nna tse leng gore ga di suti bo matlo ditshimo kana e ka nna tse di tshelang a ka dikgomo le diabe kana tse dingwe hela tse e leng gore ke dipeelo kana di-pension hela jalo.
And this should be matched to who gets what.
Mme dilo tse tsotlhe di tlhoka mokwalo ha di thaiwa mo gore ha e le pension eng sa ko go mang.
Let's not talk about pension for now.
Sorry, I'm thinking about my pension.
Not pension. Let's talk about the will for now.
The will, okay. Mokwalo o tlhoka gore mang o tsaya eng.
Yes. So this is quite important, because if you leave any other property without covering a will, it will be covered as if there is, it will be shared as if there is no will. So only the property in the will be shared according to the will. Property outside, in the event you leave something out, it will be shared as if there is no will concerning that property.
Yaanong senior counsel ha are ha ka khotsana e sela ka lepehela wa lebala ngwe ya dio tse di kgobokantseng go di kwala mo mokwalong wa dikeletso tsa gago di a go kgaogangwa ya ka o le mokgatla wa ga manana kana o le mongwaketsi mme tse o di kwadileng di tla kgaogangwa ka ha o kwadileng go roeletsa di kgaogangwa ka teng.
Okay, there's a hand there.
I wanted to ask, since you are saying if there is something outside the will, then it's considered as there is no will. So my question is, how often do you update the will? Maybe this is the reason why we don't write it until at the deathbed. Because today I only have 2 cows, and can you imagine writing a list of 2 cows? So I wait until I have 10. So that at least my document actually makes sense to those who are administering it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question.
Yaanong re na re a me ga gore gore ha ke a go kgetha ngwala ga le ngwaga ke nne ke hudusa dithoto le lekgetho. I'm summarizing.
Yes, you can see there on the board, it's called the last will.
Ha le go kwadile go te ke dikeletso tsa me tsa bohelo.
And in the morning, I talked about an elderly who always come to me after 2 years to sign their will. So you update your will. What is important is your last will. Your last version of the will is the one which is binding.
Jaanong ha a re le keletso ya gago e leng gore ya dirisiwa ya bohelo ye o e kwalang.
But there can be instances where you can say, all my cattle will go to this one person. So you are not talking about their numbers. You are talking about the property itself. There can be instances like that.
Yaanong senior councillor ha ngwa go tlhokagale gore o nne o tlaleletsa ka gore o buile hela gore nya yo ngwana ena o tla tsaya dikgomo yo ngwana ena o tla tsaya matlo. Yaanong ga go tlhokagale gore o nne o ntse o hetola mokwalo.
Yes, and the will should be in according to the formalities.
Yaanong ka ha thulaganyong ya mokwalo o
What are those formalities?
go tlhokega eng?
It should be signed by 2 witnesses who are not beneficiaries in a will. And should be in the presence of each other and of the person who made the will.
Ka mafoko a mangwe ke tla ha sekai ka my grandmother o na update will ya gagwe a tsare ngwana ka dikopi tse ke tsa ga semamang a ba le bitsa re o supang go ngwana ka mme a kwadilela ka Setswana mo exercise book be re supa gore mme ha o tlhokagala re tanela masemama dikopi tsa teng.
And you see, that's why if your child is a beneficiary, they cannot be a witness to that will.
Jaanong ha ile go dithoto tsa gago ga di e ko bana baneng di a go go bathong ba kgota ya gago ba mothodi ke bone ba ba abelang dibeisane tsa gago
Yes.
bana ba ka saena ba itse dithoto tse ga se tsa bone.
The idea is that the beneficiaries should not know what is inside the will.
yaanong ba go hiwang dibeisane le dikopi tsa teng ga ba tshwanela go itse gore ba go di neelwa.
Yes, and then beneficiaries. Okay, I said beneficiaries should not be witnesses on signing their will, because they are not supposed to. Because if they are witnesses, we assume that they have known what is contained in the will. So we assume that a will should do. People should not know that they are beneficiaries in a will. Right? That's the idea. But if you decide to tell them, but they're not signatory, it's a different issue. That one depends on your own relations with the people. But illegally, those people, you may tell them that I have written a will, this is in the will, but they should not be signatories. Because we are avoiding an incentive to murder.
yaanong go emisa tlhakatlhakano ga o kwala dikeletso tsa gago di seka di a itsewe ke ba e leng gore ke ba ja boswa ja gago basupi ba gago e nne batho ba e leng gore ga bana dikgatlhego mo dithotong tsa gago mme ba nne babedi basupi bao.
Yes.
I appreciate the first part that they should not be signatories.
Yes.
I have got a problem with the second part as to why I should keep it secret from what I've put in the will. My thinking is it all depends from one culture to another, from one family to another, from one individual to another. I don't see a problem if I've written a will to sit down around the table with my children, with my family, and let them know that in the event I'm gone, you need to know that this is what you can benefit from, and this, so that as they grow up knowing what belongs to them. I see a danger whereby at the end of the day, they don't know who has what, and when eventually they will be told, it's like, why was that given that house, and this one was given this? So I don't know what you will cancel, but my thinking is it depends on individuals.
Baba Mutumishi was saying that Ari ene o batla go nna le mokwalo wa dikeletso tsa go o tshelang. He's talking about a living will, like gore ha nka ke tshela yana le bana ba me itseng dikeletso tsa me ke santse ke le mo botshelong. I guess that's a living will, and then that one is the last will and testament. I'm not a lawyer. Counsel, explain.
Every will is the last will.
Eh.
Because we take the last version. Okay, there are end. I'll answer Murut. There's end there, there's hand there.
A little.
Yes.
I'm just imagining that if I have children and I tell them, I'm giving you my kettle post, I'm giving you the house, I'm giving you this. This one is now going to start only working at the kettle post. Whatever I ask them to do in the house, they're not going to do because they know where their interests are. So I think it makes sense is to protect that from happening.
Muruti hana re nya a re na ga tshele bana re ba boleleleng gore wena o tsaya se wena o tsaya a re yo wai tla re mo ngorisiana hele o ise dizile ko morakeng a ba re nna ke wa matlu a go tsamaye wa meraka.
Okay, elder then.
I think
Then elder again.
Mogolwane
I want to say I will tell you from experience. My father was a farmer, and his friend and neighbor he distributed everything before he died.
Ka le bolela ka se nna se ntiragaletseng re ne e le molemi morui mme o na a dira go kgaoganya dithoto tsa gagwe a santse a tshedile.
And what happened is this man had a lot of cattle, he had shops. So after distributing everything, the children, unfortunately, well, I don't know whether it's fortunate or not, he also had many wives. So after that distribution, each wife and his kids concentrated on the business that was their part. To the extent that the man, to us, I think he actually died early because of that commotion. I mean, the man was not welcome at the farm by wife number 2 and his kids. He couldn't go to the shops and decide because the wife who was in charge would say, no, in terms of our way of running business, your idea is taking us down. So I think giving a will before you die might actually, rather than creating a solution, what I saw with my naked eyes, it created a problem where kids actually took over and they were not doing it actually in bad faith. They wanted to protect what was theirs. And they even protected it from their dead.
Jaanong ke batla go tlaleletsa mo go se me masale tsa na se bua gore ha o ka ba wa itsise bana dikeletso tsa gago tsa bohelo o le mo botshelong.
Yes,
So moruti ka gore bana ba ha ba ka ba itse bogolo yang a o nyetse lehuha. Mosadi mongwe le mongwe le ngwana wa gagwe o tla ba a phamola dithuto tsa gagwe ba di phamola mo e leng gore le wena kgantele ba go kganela ko ntle.
Yes, so here I see this dynamic. I'll just comment, then you'll be next. Where parents actually give the beneficiaries, the children, whatever, let's say they are 20 years, 25 years, they just say, I'm now giving you these things are now yours, right? They are now yours, so do whatever you want with them. So some say it makes business sense for those who want to do their business early, they will multiply the portion than for you to keep them like that. But here there's another situation where, because you can give it to your children whatever you are in your lifetime, right? So that one is a different issue. But we have got a situation where you don't give them, but you showed them. It's like Moses being shown the land, right? Exactly. That is the land, but it's only when I die that you should cross the Jordan River, right? Yes. So those are two different situations. Where you actually give, that one is, whatever happened, yes, it's in your lifetime, but you are addressing that issue here. Yes, your comment.
I want you to explain the one about Jordan. Can you clarify that one about Jordan?
Oh, I was just saying, the second situation with the pastor is commented on is where the kids know what is in their will, but it's not yet theirs.
Okay. Ya no mogakudi mogolo wa lehatshe le kereke a re dio tse ga di tshwane moruti le go na le gore o kgone go kgaoganya dithoto tsa bana o bo ba di nnela di tswa mo taolong ya gago o sa tlhola o tlhoka sepe mo dithotong tseo mo go na le gore o ba bolelle mme ntse o di tshwere ga se so se tshwana
I believe that it might be wise to tell your children that there is a will and you have written your interests of how your estate will be distributed without necessarily telling them the details. This world is getting dangerous and people are getting more interested in material things. We are talking about things that are happening where the parent now has told the children what is theirs. First of all, it creates problems in the sense that they themselves start now fighting to say, this is my house, when others are here, no, go to the farm, this is my house. They want to start controlling those things. Number two, there are instances where now people can even start planning your dying. When you are hanging around, they thought you will die and you are not dying. Like you said, it works against the desire for people to now think you need to go so that they can take these things. So, and I think also it might make people not work hard now for themselves to have their own things because they think they have things here now. They don't have to do much. So that is why it is saying, the definition of the will, it says your wish when you have passed away, isn't it? So it makes sense that they would know, of course they know their parents have got this estate. They would know that the estate will be divided amongst them, but it is, I think it's not advisable to tell them that this is yours, this is that. I've seen also with my naked eyes, as the elder was saying, where people start even interfering with the relationship with their parent and his siblings and others. No, don't use that car. You know, my mother has given me that car. So I think it's a problem to tell people. Thank you.
I'll just summarize.
Okay.
Thank you.
There are two ends. Then we proceed. Ma, at the back, there's another end here. Then I'll make a comment, then we proceed. The third one here. So, 1, 2, 3, then 4, then we proceed.
I just wanted to say, when I was sitting in my usual place, somebody behind me whispered and said, if you tell them, if you show them that this is yours, they will pray that you die as quickly as possible so that they can take over. Anyway, but that was just a comment by someone. But in my case, I have said to my children, you see, this and this and this and this, all this, when I am no more, they belong to you, but you share. I have divided according to my own wish, but you are free to negotiate with each other. if to negotiate, yeah. If I've left a fleet of cars for one, and that one wants a house instead of cars, you know, they can negotiate. But I have spelled out that, you know, what will belong to who. But I said, I'm not going to disclose. You will see it in my will when I am no more. Yeah. Okay.
It's a surprise, okay.
Yeah.
Jana ke tlhalose pele ga ke lebala mogolwane prof hale a re na ke ba boleletse gore ke na le dikeletso tse di kwadilweng tsa dikabo ya dithoto mme ke ne ka ba tlhagisa hela gore nya le ha le sa itumele le tla buisanya lona se tsena ke tsamaile.
Yes. Who's the next one? From Prof? Yes.
I was saying, in my view, since if I have the children here, I see it fair that they would sell something and share than writing or saying this one take this one, because they are going to compare value and it will cause a conflict. If the other one who I've given this, he see the one that is given to that one has more value than the one that I'm giving, that is going to cause conflict. Also, I don't view I don't view writing this making anything, because sometimes the people write. They write the will themselves. I mean faking it, not really the true will that was done. Because one day I saw the lady who was working where I was working, at Ministry of Finance. Her husband had passed, and she was saying Botswana Life is having a hard time not ruling out about the lump sum, that the life cover sum that she has to be given. She said there was a young sister to her husband who her husband used to buy uniform to. So she wanted to get a share out of the lump of the life cover that the husband has to be given. So Botswana Life had a hard time to rule out whether to give her a lump sum because there was no written document. So she said the Botswana Life paused and said, we'll get back to you. Not ruling out. They didn't want to disregard that this sister, the young sister to her husband is telling the lie. They didn't want to rule out that she's telling a lie we dismiss. So they came back again. When they came back to the matter to discuss it, she said that young lady who was a secondary school student brought a written document which is backdated, stating that written like the husband said that I cover her so that she get a sum from the life cover. But this lady is a very gentle woman. She didn't argue with them. She just said it's okay. Then they gave her a share. This young lady, they gave her a share out of the life cover. But she said, but she's lying. Also, I also thought she's lying because from the onset, she could have produced this document and the husband could have told her wife that I have written my sister to get something. So it was just a written lie that she benefited from.
Yes, thanks very much.
Re ha tlhokahala molao kana wa re baja boswa ke batho ba eleng gore ke ba lelwapa la moswi ya no mo Setswaneng go tla be go nyame kana o mo godisitse nyame le ha ile ngwana ke ngwana gagwe nya kana le ha ile bokgaitsa dio tse ke tsa rona rotlhe re le lelwapa ya no ona bua gore tota molao one ga ona gore moja morago ke kgosi kana ngwana ke moja boswa ya no ba bangwe ba dira mekwalo e ko thoko e re ha go ya go molao be ba tla ka mekwalo e leng gore o ipotsa gore e sa le kwalwa leng jang ha ngwe se ya boa maruru gore e nne baja boswa ka tshekamo.
Yes.
Dumela Mphutego Sabato o molemo batsadi ga re santse re le mo botshelong re tshwanetse gore re kgaoganye dilo tsa boswa re di kgaoganye re santse re tshedile ka gore ha re sa di kgaoganye bana ba sala ba lwela dilo tsa boswa akanya ke na le bonnake re be re lwela jarata go na le ro mongwe nata a nne kwa maru a pula a lala mo diskiting a ja mo biming a lwala tlhaloganyo ano ha re batisisa ba ba mo itseng ba re o na a lwela ditsa boswa le bo mogolo go lwela jarata go ra re ba mogolo ba ba tsa mabading a kenza Setswana ba go mmereka a ba helana le bothata a tlhaloganyo go ra re ha na le bothata jwa tlhaloganyo ga ba sa tholana le thata epe ba tsaela ba bo mogoloe ba ba tsa jarata ya no ke re ba tsa dilo tsa boswa a re di kgaoganyeng bana re kwale gore se ke sama gore bana ba ska sala ba lwela dilo tsa boswa rona botsadi bo robetse. Amen.
Senior Counsel, I want to also add something similar from my not my mother but my traditional experience in Setswana, not translating. And we had an uncle, Rabotu, a very infamous uncle, Rabotu Sibonero. He distributed his estate while he was alive, not so that they can care for him, as you were suggesting, so they can care for themselves, while he was remaining with his and for his wife. Jaanong ha sna go nela bana dithoto as a starter pack. I got a starter pack. A re bongwanaka ke kgobokantse na le mohumagadi re kgobokantse mo lekaneng yaanong lona re le nela di starter pack tsa wena tsa Smega wena tsa Maizaka wena tsa Orange Mine yaanong o ta ithalela gore yaanong ba batlang go huma thata ba tsa di risk tse ditona kere yaanong di-risk tseo be di kometsa boswa yaanong ba ba cautious ba tanda hela ba le ho ba ntse ba ka bonya ba ntse ba ikokotletsa yaanong monna mogolo le ha ntse a le mo botshelong wa bona gore man dio tse medile yaanong ba go llela tsa ba seng di-risk taker a kere ba ntse ba nnetse gore ba dikotame ho yaanong wa go bona yaanong mo botshelong le ha netse bana gore hey go hale I should have waited until I died a kere yaanong what happens is that ba disentsa bone yaanong ba lwa le tsa ba itshadiseditseng be ba gape ba lwa le tsa batsadi kore yaanong risky they are willing to take all the risk even to break the family. That's how much risk they're willing to take. Yaanong mongwe ba nthare lesika la lona hela le ntse hela jalo go gangwe ke tse le dira hela jalo a ba sa eta masika a mangwe a rona e leng gore mme o ne le mo parlamente wa mme re wa gagwe ba tlhokagala ana le bana ba basimane le ba basetsana yaanong o affairs bona ke re gate ngwana ntlha mo kana ga mmagwe a ba bona gore yaanong ebile ke nna wa ntlha ke tshwanetse go etela mme ko pele yaanong mme o mo botshelong a ka ya o no le mo parlamente wa ntlha wa mme mo kabineteng ya ntlha ya Botswana yaanong ngwana ga go wa molenkane yaanong a go kotame mo phatleng o phogwaneng a ba re o itse gore ke mo ngwana ka yo ke mo ntsha mo dithotong tsa me ke kgaoganya ba ba setseng ba ba sana bone ba santse ba beile question ya bone borre ga bone go tlhogile go setse ga ba setsana yaanong borra ba reng ba lwantsha ba ba setsana gore ne eleng kana lona le basadi anko le nyetsweng teng mme na anetse bana botlhe yaanong wa bona kganya ga mme ga le gore go nna yang batho ba re nyame ke sengwa ketse so ngaka ya ga my mother ba re le di-radio tse ko gangwa ketse ka gore le humile rona ko bokalakang ga rena se re se lwelang.
Okay, thanks very much. The last two, then we proceed. The last two, Manseola. Then Elder Kabasian. Then I give an overall observation and comments. Did I omit someone? No. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, it's long. She mentioned that one of the family members distributed the estate to the sons and daughters while he was still alive. And then the men, they took some big risks in investing the boswa, and then Bobaji, it did not yield any profit, and they actually lost everything. Now, the same men turn around, they want the sisters' estate, they also want the parents' estate, what remained with the parents and what was given to the sisters. She talked about the member of... She talked about a member of parliament who had daughters and a son, and then she also distributed to the son. The son blew off whatever he was given. Now he's busy telling the sisters, you are married. Now he wants what they were given.
Okay,
and what remained with the parent. So this lady said, it is dangerous to... Was she talking about distributing while parents are still alive? Or... So even African things are now applied, where the siblings will go to the traditional doctors and apply something on you, and then you get crazy, so that you don't even have a proper mind to fight for the estate. They took everything. That's what she was saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manseula, then lastly, Elder Kabasiane. Then I will give an observation from all these comments. These stories, you see, this is something which is living with us, right? Yeah. That's what I can observe. That the stories show that this is something which is living with us, but I will give my overall observation. Yes, Manseula.
Thank you for the opportunity. Me, I'm on the... is the mic off? Yeah.
It's on, just to be near your mouth.
Kieran. On the husband and wife, according to the write-up in the morning, it was when you write, it was like talking about the husband. Your wife and your children may not know what you have written. So somebody asked a question of, can we have married in community of properties? Is it fair to write a will without your partner endorsing or both of you as a joint? So if we have done a joint will and then one of you dies, what happens? You have to rewrite it. That's a question. The other observation that I want you to tap on is according to the law of Botswana, whereby if you have a property, I die, Mr. Nseula remains, in that property, he has 50%, and the kids have 25 of this property. So it means after my death, my estate, everything that Mr. Nseula has to be distributed to the kids. Why? Why? Can we write to say no? Everything will be distributed after both of us has passed on, or what?
Interesting. Yes, interesting question.
Kgang ke gore molao wa Botswana ka gore batho ga ba nyalane ka go thakanela dithoto a go a letelwa gore yo mongwe a dire wili a sa ithulaganya le mopati wa gagwe ha ile gore ba dirile wili e tshwanang a yo mongwe ga sena go tlhokagala yo setseng a o ka tsama a go change sene ba se dumalanye ko tshimologong go tswa go potswa bobedi ne le gore ha ile gore jaanong yo mongwe wa tlhokagala dilo di sala monna a na le sephato bana le bone ba kgaogangwa a king go sa kgaoganyetswe bana ga ba bothe ba setse ba tlhokahetse.
Yes, elder.
Yes, I hope I'm not going to jump the gun or go ahead of your presentation. But in explaining the definition that was put up there, you mentioned that if you don't write a will, or you have written a will, and then there is an asset that you have omitted, the asset that has been omitted will be distributed as if there was no will for it. Okay? Now that says to me, there is some general rule existent somewhere for distributing assets which have no will.
Yes, elder.
Okay. Now I will wait for a time. Please don't forget to do it because it's important for us to know that one.
And it has already passed, but I can reinstate for you. By the time you arrived, it was it was already done, but I will reinstate for you. Thanks very much. I think the last burning question, because we also have to move, right? Yes, it's important for also to share, because usually you have to balance if speed or finishing and also people going together with everyone. The last contribution.
Mine is just a sharing, because some of these things we are already living in them. And I'll share from the kids' side. When my mom died, we are just two. I have a young brother. There was a document which stated that the beneficiaries for her property. Okay, when dad died, everything belonged to mom. Now, when mom died, it was me and my brother, right? So, I think because during that moment of grief and mourning and stuff, you know, uncles asked us, what are you planning to do with our sister's things and stuff like that? And they were just saying, well, I thank God we have such uncles. They said, in our family, everyone works for their kids. So we are not going to interfere, but we just want you guys to take care of whatever Mama had. Then, I think because of emotions, I was saying, you know what, for the house and everything, my brother can just take everything. I don't need anything. After all, I'll just stick to Louis. Whatever he has is mine. You know, then after the whole process of grief, an elderly person called me and said, we have a situation of what happened before. This is what happened, and it's also a distant family member. What happened is, they decided that the boy takes everything, right? Then the boy died. He was married. The boy died. When he died, the wife to the boy married another man. When this wife married another man, she died. And now the property belongs to a total stranger. And now, in this case, maybe myself, it doesn't work out where I'm married. I become a destitute. I don't have anywhere to stay. I can't come back and claim my parents' home, where initially I was a beneficiary. So the elderly was advising that before you document anything, you don't know the future. Think about these things. And indeed, we revisited and benefiting. Yeah, but I just thought I should share that there are some unforeseen events that may, and I thank God there is wisdom in gray hair. I never thought about it, because I was just saying, I love my brother so much, he can just take over, I don't need that. Thank you. Yes. That's how we revisited it anyway. We decided that we will do a trust, and our kids will benefit.
Molaetsa o monate thata wa ga Mokauleng wa hale a re bone ba godile go le lorato mo lapeng go sena dikgogakgogano a re batsadi ba ne ba tlogela ba le babedi ene le kgaitsadie a re ka baratana ba utlwana be ba dumalana gore nya wena sala ka le lwapa nna ke tla sala ka mo ke salang ka gone mme ka ne le lwapa le utlwana le ratanang go ne ga tla mogolo mo re bo gona ka ra ke a itse gore gona ana la utlwana le godile mo loratong le batla go tswela mo leratong mme kana go na le tse di tla diragalang ko pele tse le sa di sologeleng a ba ha se ka isa gore motho na re nyana ke nyetswe ke na le tsa meko ke nyetsweng teng kana ke na le tse e leng gore le nna ke tla di tlhokomela wena sala ka jarata le ntlo ya rona ka wena o tla tlhokomela le mosadi wa gago a ba gokola kana mme jarata e ha le tlogela kgaitsadio ha ka tlhokagala mosadi wa gagwe wa go etsa mme mosadi wa gagwe le ene ha ka nyala gape a tlhokagala ya go tsewa ke monna o sele le lwapa la lona e be se tlhola nna la family ya lona jaanong boela gape le kwale mokwalo o leng gore re tla bua ka ona go teng ke trust e leng gore o tla bona le go tsepamisa tsamaiso ya dithoto tse le morago ga lesola motho gore di bereka jang di tsamaisiwa jang go a dikokomaneng gore di sekane tswa mo lesikeng la batsadi
Thank you very much. Now let me just respond briefly. My wife will also. Why are you sitting so far? Come and sit.
My council, senior council.
Why are you sitting so far?
The backbone to the senior council is on the way.
I know she's also managing the children class, so she wanted to get out easily, I think.
Kyo my senior council.
So there's something which always happens. She's actually the author and the finisher of these slides.
My senior council kana leads, the woman behind the man.
And all these colorful things. You may see me presenting them, but I may not be the author. Okay, so I will attempt to answer some. If she has anything to add, she can also answer. I will start with the pastor's issue of hiding.
I'll let you finish them all first.
Okay, it's fine. So on that issue, Pastor, I agree with you. I'll give you a simple example. Sometimes if I have change, I just leave it anyhow, anywhere in the house. So one of the kids says, why are you not hiding your money? Why are you putting this change here? I said, but me, when I was growing up, that's what we were doing. And no one stole. No one was stealing. So I believe also we don't have a thief in the house. So no one is. Yes. So what
jaanong councele ka batho ba tshega bangwe ba ipotsa gore ba tshegang a re ga ba gola bone ne go sena legodu mo lapeng ne ba tlogela madi hela gongwe le gongwe yaanong mongwe ba mora gore yaanong lona le tlogela madi gongwe le gongwe ga le tshabe gore a tla ngo ka magodu.
Yes, so I was saying families are different. Especially if it is a nucleus family, it's a little bit easier because you have seen your kids growing, you have trained them in a certain way, and you know them, and you know that this is for the good. It's always easier in that nuclear formation. Yes, it can be done. They may know, but know that they should not be signatories, so that the will is not disqualified. So what is important is that they are not part of this. They are not witnesses to the will. Whether they know or they don't know is a different issue. That one anyone can say, because the court will not ask, were you told in advance this is what you can know? It's not a question to be considered. But they should not be signatories. So for me, my answer is yes, if in your family you think that this is the best for the family, then it can be done in that way. But everyone knows their family. That I think I cannot do this in my family, or the family is a blended family, or there are even other people. There are other families, even in church, there are children who are outside the marriage, right? It's a reality. They are also children, and they also have to inherit, right? So I don't think you can invite all of them on the same table and tell them. So it depends on the nature of the family.
Yaanong mogakolodi mogolo wa rona wa kereke wa gakolola gore a ka ne ke buile ko tshimologong se dirisiwa sone se sa mokwalo wa dithoto tsa gago gore di tsamaisiweng o seo mo botshelong se tla tshwanela gore se nne le tsone di-formality tsa gore di lebile gore banake ke ba godisitse yang di lebile gore masika a me ke batho ba bantseng jang yaanong o tla dira sedirisiwa se gago o lebile gone gore lelwapa ke le le ntseng jang le dithoto ke tse di ntseng jang ga go kwa bitsa bana ba malwapa a mangwe a United Nations o itse gore go tla nna le dikgotlhang o tshwanetse go diotse bana ba seka ba itse ga o ba bolelela o bona le tshepo ya gore ga e kitla go dira makgware mme basupi ba mokwalo wa dikeletso tsa gago ga se ba ja boswa ebile ga se batho ba na le dikgatlhego.
Yes, then about what happened if you die without a will, it will be shared in terms of your customs. Your customary law, your customs of your people. It depends on your tribe, how it is shared.
Jaanong moruti wa me my Levite ke ra re tlhabologo ha o sena mokwalo go tla tswa hela gone gore a o moZimbabwe kana o Motswana a o lekgowa kana o motho montsho.
What determines my tribe? Is it my mother's side or my father's side?
It again depends on your tribe. In your tribe, what determines it? Because in other areas, I know in Africa they are matriarch, in others they are patriarch. So is your tribe, if your tribe is patriarch, then it determines your tribe. If your tribe is matriarch, then it determines your tribe.
Jaanong senior councilor a re gore tribe ya gago ke eng go tla tswa mo ngwaong ya lona. Yes, Prof. Noring. We can't hear, Prof. jaanong prof a re mo dithutegong tsa gagwe o tlhaloganya gore ha e le gore lesika le tsamaya ka gago mme o dirisa segane sa ga mme ha dithoto di tsamaya ka ga rre o dirisa segane sa ga rre mme ne ke re ke tlhatswe gore mo sekweneng ga se segane ke gore a o ntsheditswe magadi.
Yes, then the question about joint will. Yes, as married people, you can have a joint will. And, okay, I see your hand. And usually, in your joint will, you share the property, right? Say in the event that we die together at the same time, this happened, right? In the event that one outlived the other, this happened. Although many people think that they may not die together at the same time, but it's actually a reality also. Yes.
So what is the cancel? Cancel, I didn't hear the cancel. I'm sorry.
Okay, she asked a question about joint wills, where a couple sit down and write one will, which is a joint will, right? So I'm saying that joint will say what happens if the couple dies at the same time together, right? Or how property is going to be distributed. And what happens if one dies and the other is still living?
Yaanong mona na gakolola gore ha le kopanela le finally le kwala ka kutlwano mokwalo o laolang dithoto tsa lona aka le nyaletse ka tlhakana le dithoto le tshwantse gore le tsenye mo mokwalong o dio tsotlhe risk management ke re wa itse final risk management gore ha go ka nna jana go ka diragala jang le ne le risk management plan gore ha go ka tlhokagala nna pele ra go dira jang yone we attachang ha wa apply la sidele wa bona e tsena le mo wiling ba tlhalogantse ba tswana ba o tlhalogantse ka re ma final.
Yes, so usually even let's say there's a house where you are staying, some will usually say you have the right to use it for the rest of your life. Then after you die, it goes this way. So that you don't distribute and you be left with nothing when the other partner dies. So the will spell out how you do those things.
Jaanong mogakolodi ya re mme le ka tsenela le ko teng gore dithoto tse ka le basimane le bararo yana ga gona opo wa lona wa go ditsa ntlo ya rona nang le di steps ya go nnela ha ruri ha lona ha le ile ko bo Canada bo kae ya rona le mosadi wa eme masabata ba go bamela gone kwa re ya go practiceetsa gone ha ala rata ga le rata.
And if you are married in the community of property, you said about what about it's assumed it's jointly owned property, right? So it's your half share. You distribute your half. If you decide to write your will alone, you don't share the whole property because it's not all of you is not yours. All of it is not yours, right? You only share your portion. You cannot stop. Then it's like you are taking away someone's property already.
That one I don't understand. Can you?
I'm saying you are marriage is in two ways. You are married in a community of property where you are saying we co-own this property, right? If you decide to write a will alone without the other, which means you share half of the property only in your will. You cannot share all of it because all of it is not yours.
Yeah, no. Ke ntlha ya botlhokwa ka gore ha le sa tlhakanela dithoto go ra gore ga o ka kwala dikeletso tsa go le nosi ka gore dio tsa lona le ha ntswa e se tsa tlhakanela dithoto o mongwe o na le botlhabongwe ja thoto ya gago ya no ga kwa kgaoganya thoto tsa gago ko ntle ga le ena itse gore o wela ha kae mo dithotong tsa gago wena o wela ka hae mo go tsa gago so le ha le sa tlhakanela dithoto le kwala mmogo.
Yes, you have seen that although these wills have worked for some, but this issue of individual ownership has caused of different pieces of the estate has caused some issues, right? Yes, I allowed that one to go on and on so that you will see the difference between if you do it by way of a will or and you do it by way of a trust. A trust may cover some of the issues which were being raised about individual ownership where you give different pieces.
You can continue.
Okay. There's a burning question at the back. Then after that, if you have any additions.
Yes, I wanted to point something that my sister said, which was not translated because she said it in Setswana. This was concerning the matrilinearity or the patrilinearity that exists within different societies. And in particular, the point she was saying is that in the culture of the Bakwena, it's all dependent on whether the dowry has been delivered. In other words, if the dowry has not been delivered, it has to be matrilineal because the father side has not shown themselves to be worthy. If the dowry has been delivered, then it becomes patrilineal. I think that's an important to point out. And in many of the tribes of Botswana, many of the Setswana-speaking tribes, I would say it's a mixture of matrilinearity and patrilinearity. This I say because the relative that is put at prominence, whether or not the dowry has been delivered, is the maternal uncle. At the same time, a lot of prominence is put on the father side. So I would say it ends in many of the Setswana-speaking tribes within Botswana that it's kind of a mixture. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for the clarification on that point. And I also want to highlight that under customary law, even a child born out of wedlock has the right to inherit. It's the same way as those who are born in the wedlock.
Council, can you cite the latest instrument in Botswana that cites that? It's been revised again.
It's a case. It's case law.
It's not the new inheritance.
No, it's in a case.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's a case where they wanted to disinherit someone because he's was born out of wedlock. But the court said, in terms of the Administration of Estates Act, because the Act just say it's in accordance with the customary law of the tribe, right? So the tribe now, it was, some would say, this one born out of wedlock, etc., those kinds of stuff. But it said, no, you are discriminating. So the whole thing was based on the Constitution to say, you cannot discriminate between children. It's discriminatory because of this was wedlock, this is born out of wedlock. So it was an issue of discriminatory. The same reasoning which was said also when initially they were saying they disinherit women or female. They said you are also discriminatory.
Jaanong mogakolodi mogolo wa rona ka seburu re go bitsa re agente akere agente wa rona a re Inheritance Act ya Botswana e golagane le Customary Law Act go na le ha ileng gore
okay, it's called the Administration of Estates Act.
Administration of Estates Act.
Yes.
Go na le ha e supa e golagana le melao ya rona ya setso. Ya no go na le case law go na le incident tse diragetseng. Ke tla ha se kae ka nna ha ke bereka yana ke na le pension. Ya no ha go na le wetirelo setšhaba ba ba leng ko ba ba sa itseweng. E tla re ke tlhokahala Magwe tirelo setšhaba le Magwe Dublin le Magwe America ba tla ba tla ba re hela ngaka yo ke ra rona yaanong re tla go tsa ga rona molao wa re ba teng ko Dublin ba teng ko tirelo setšhaba le ko Cape Town a ba tla go tsa yaanong ke ka ha molao o ntseng ka teng ga gona bo tirelo setšhaba ba go teng nnyaa yo le ne le wa tirelo setšhaba botlhe ke bana ba me.
Okay, you can add more about the wills.
Good afternoon.
Hello, dumelang.
I'm also sure I should also claim to be a counsel, to be senior or junior at this point. I'm also sure.
Re na le mamosadinyana ha re re mamosadinyana kana ka Setswana ra mo tlotla.
But they say-
Mamosadinyana wa melao.
They say he who gets a wife gets a good thing. Okay, and I'm here to assist. All right, so we have heard about the will, but there's something that we have to also consider. The will has to indicate who is going to assist in the distribution. That is the executor. And that person is very important. If you choose someone who does not know how to go about it, whatever you have written in the will might even cause trouble. The executor might be cooperative today when you are alive, but when you are gone, the executor tends to be something else. So that is very important. You have to decide who is going to be the executor. We have seen instances whereby instead of appointing the surviving spouse, the executor is one of the executors, he would appoint a relative who is not the surviving spouse. It has worked in some instances, but in other instances, it has not worked at all. So as we try to put our houses in order, we have to identify a person who fears God, a person who has love at heart, a person who can distribute your estate in your absence as if you are there. Thank you.
That's a very botlhokwa mabapi le administration of what thing?
Estates. I was saying, in your will, as you write, indicate who is the executor.
Jaanong ha le kwala dikeletso tse tsa semolao ka yang gore motho o tla be yaanong mo bosiong jame a ba dithoto tse tsa me ke mang ka gore ha ngwe motho wa ba na le dikgatlhego ene e se gore wa ba dithoto a na le go selegela.
Yes, and for me, the surviving spouse is easily someone to be the executor. It's easier that way. Because they have their interests of themselves and the children. Immediately, yes.
Me mo go nna ke le mogakolodi mogolo motho o ntlelang pele go aba dithoto ke ene motlholagadi mo go nna.
Yes, then I will point to you, Elder. About the property to include, you can include the property from anywhere in your will, right? Whether it is in South Africa, some is here, some is whatever, you can include in your will all your property.
Jaanong dithoto tsa gago ga se tse di mo Botswana hela tse di mo lefaufaung ra di balela tse di mo dipeelong tsa ditlhake go sena makgetho tsotlhe le tse re sa itseng ka tsone dithoto di mo teng.
Yes, and you should also include, if you have minor children, would you want to be, in the case both of you are not there, would you want to be the guardian of the children?
Me go botlhokwa gape gore mo dikeletsong tsa gago o tshwaye gore ha nka tlhokagala bana ke ba le ka ga tlase ga molao go itsamaisetsa ba tle be ba le mo tlhokomelong ya ga mang yo ke mo tshepang.
And in terms of safekeeping, usually you keep your will at the Master of High Court or at the lawyers, or sometimes the safekeeping at the bank, right? In the safes at the bank. So it depends on, but it should be securely kept somewhere.
Me ka dikgang tse tse di maharatlhatlha go batla gore mokwalo wa dikeletso tsa gago mo bosiong ja gago e be e le o babalesegileng o bewa ko batho ba ka se ba o bule teng a o ba ko ga master a o ba ko agenteng wa gago kana o ba mo go itseng wena le o mo tshepileng.
Yes. Elder, then we proceed to trusts. Okay, let me address that. Thanks very much. Yes, usually the will should be securely kept somewhere. Of course, you tell other people who are close to you, or even the children, say, okay, me, I've got a will somewhere, right? So that is retrieved and read. Usually it's read publicly for those who are beneficiaries, right? So it must be authentic in the process. The process itself should also be authentic. So that is someone doesn't come with a document from somewhere and say this is the will, right? Yes.
mme mogakodi mogolo ha a re peelo ya dikeletso tsa gago mo boseong ja gago e tshwanetse gore e dirwe ka ga tsamaisong e lolameng e leng gore molao o ka e sala morago wa e latedisa.
Yes, Elder.
Thank you so much. Actually, the answer which you have given just now is what I wanted to ask. Okay. Where do we keep this thing, and who should know that it is kept there, so that in the event me and her is not there, who is supposed to retrieve it there so that we know that this was their wish? So I really, I think we have just answered it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. And then now we go to trust.
jaanong re tsamaya lena ko dithoto tse di beilweng ka tshepo.
Sometimes you will see that instead of giving the property to different individuals, different beneficiaries, you can form what is called a family trust, where the property is still kept intact, but for the benefit of the beneficiaries you have identified.
jaanong re tsaya legato le le gatelang ga godimo ga o abe dithoto ka molao o di baya mo tshepong ya gore baja boswa ba tla di akola go ya ko dikokomaneng tse di tlang.
Yes. So we have a new act, a Trust Property Act, Control Act, I think, yes. And this, in terms of this act, the trust has the following elements.
Re na le molao o mošwa. What year is this act?
Trust Property Control Act.
What year is it?
It's 2018.
Ga o mošwa thata. Re na le molao wa 2018 o laolang dipeelo tsa tshepo gore di tla dikokomaneng.
Yes, so a trust has a founder.
Dipeelo tse tsa tshepo di na le o di kwalang kana o di thomang.
Yeah, so a founder is the person who say, I want to set up a trust. Yes. And then it has beneficiaries. The founder and then trustees. Because a founder will be just one person who say, I'm a founder. But you should identify who are the trustees, right, of the trust. And the trustees, so you register the trust and you say, these are the trustees, the people who run that trust. Those are the trustees, including yourself. You'll be part of the trustees. So you're a founder and also one of the trustees, right? And there should be beneficiaries. Who are the beneficiaries? And there must be also the property. What is the property which this trustee owns, right? So you put the property in the trust so that it's continuous, benefiting the beneficiaries, right? I will tell you this one story which happened where this man was a soldier in the BDF, and the sister, when she was around 18, 19, she had a child out of wedlock. So at the BDF, they said, okay, the property, who do you want the beneficiaries? If you, in case you die, who would benefit from your property? So he said, I don't have a child. Let me identify, let me put the sister's child as the beneficiary. Say, okay, you benefit, you get my house. So as if he was inviting death, the soldier died. Right? And the property was put in the name of the child. That one, the name is there. But the elders sitting somewhere said, but this child is still going, school going. She cannot be stay in that house alone. While she stay with the other relatives, the young brother to the deceased, the soldier, should occupy the house. The young brother occupied it, married. While this girl is growing up, is in school, primary, secondary, university. Only after her university said, but I have a house. Now I want to go to that house. Right? And it was not easy to get that house because she went there, perhaps said, I want to get in this house. Said no, they refused. So I was being told this story by the lawyer who was handling that case. Said we actually had to do summons to evict, papers to evict this young brother to the soldier. Right? Imagine how many years we were there from someone from primary up to finishing in university. Many years, right? But if they had set up a trust, right, not as a will, and that property is run by a trust, I imagine that the trustees would have found someone to occupy the house for a fee, for rent house, right? By the time this child finished university, I think that house could have bought even 2 or 3 other houses from the proceeds.
jaanong mogakolodi mogolo ga agente ya rona a re pelo ye ya tshepo ke yone molemo ebile ke yone ya sedumedi ka gore e lebelela dikokomane tse di tla tlang ga o kwadile kelotso tsa gago hela o sa lebelela dikokomane tse di tla tlang wa bo lebile hela mo dinaong tsa gago ka gore o ka kwalla ngwana wa ga kgaitsadi yo o sena bana o re nya ga ke na ngwana kgaitsadi a ke o tshotse ngwana yo o tla ntlhokomela kana o tla itshisa ka yone mme ngwana yo hela ka re bone ka masiela a rona mo gaeng na kwa HIV wa go gola go sena ntlo batho ba itshwarisitse ko dibankeng kgotsa ebile e tserwe ke dibanka mo boemong ja gore pelo ya tshepo e siameng e ka be ena le mothomi wa yone ba ene go ten truster le ba di trustee ba e leng gore ba e tsamaisa ba tlhophilwe ko wena ba ke ba nna ba hirisa ntlo eo e nna le dipoelo tse e leng gore di ka nna di reka matlo a mangwe ngwana o ntse a ya junior ntse go a mangwe a ya senior ba ntse ba tsadisa ka re itse ka sekreste gore tshwanetse go tsadisa se re nang naso ba ntse ba e tsadisa gore ngwana ga se tseanong a lekane gore a bone se malome a go a se mmetseng ya ba itlhaela gore nyago ha pelo e tsetse.
So there are too many ways you can form a trust. The first one, while you are still living, you can have your trust, right? And then the trust owns your property for the benefit of identified beneficiaries, your children, grandchildren, etc., all those kind of stuff. So this property continues to be managed and continues in perpetuity for the next generation, right? And the generations. Remember, the Bible says you should prepare the inheritance for your children's children, right? It even goes further than that. So it keeps this property instead of, because the challenge is that if you separate it, some will just may squander it. Some may use it wisely. Some may want, but if it is in a trust, the decision is to be collective. And usually your trustees is yourself. If you are married, your spouse can also be a trustee. And if your children are above 18 years, they can also be trustees altogether. to run that in continuation. Okay, just the next thing. I see you, the two of you. I'll point out. Just a moment. Yes. So the other second way you make it is that in your will, you say, on my demise, a trust should be set up to manage all my property. Then you leave the property to manage it. So a trust, you can form it in your lifetime now, or to say in a will, on my demise, then all my properties, whatever, should be set up in a will, and these should be trustees, etc., like that. So there are two ways in which you can make this family trust. Elder and Ma.
Pele ga re botsa dipotso re yana ke gare le mogolwane kana ke re agente ya rona ha re tswa mo mokwalong wa dikeletso tsa gago re tsena mo mokwalong wa pelo ya tshepo ya sedumedi gore
Can you do the mic like this?
pelo ya tshepo e letsegang ya sedumedi gore e ka dirwa mo ke santse ke tshidile e le nna ke tsamaisang le mohumagadi le bana ba setse ba le mo molaong ba heta 18 mme go na le gone gore e ka tsamaisiwa mo boseong jame ha ke sena go kwala dikeletso tsa me mo dikeletsong tsa me ke kwale ke tlhalose gore mme ga ke a be boswa ja dithoto tsa me ke eletsa gore bana ba ba mo dingwageng kana le mosadi wa me kana le masika kana la le bo agente kana ba di-accounts ba ke ba tshepang ba tsweledise go tsadisa dithoto tse tsa metse ka ha re tlhaloganyang ka teng mo sedumeding gore modimo o batla dilo tsa rona di gola di seka di a nna go le gongwe hela gore re thuse batho.
Okay, thank you. What are the cost implications of forming a trust? Are the trustees paid, or when you register it, is there any recurrent expenditure, or it's a one-off registration? You know, what does it mean in terms of money? Right.
Ma, then Elder Chikore, then
Sorry, just also to add on to the question that's asked, I think also the costs when you're looking at the different types of trusts, if you can outline that, and what are also the limitations of a trust? I don't know if you'll cover it later, because if someone doesn't have liquidity, you know, how would the trust, to set it up and for it to continue to run based on it incurring costs, how do you actually make provisions for that? Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Get all the questions and then we summarize. I think it's
Okay,
almost sunset.
there's another at the back there, Elder Chikore at the back. Thanks, Nash.
Thank you. Sorry, I came in late, so I don't know if you covered it. But I wanted to ask that, is there any provision for editing any of these documents? Say, for instance, I've put Vincent, who is my brother, as the executor, or maybe somebody who is assigned something in the trust or in the will to be a beneficiary. Then, as I continue to live, 10 years later, I see that the way Vince is living, I don't think he's the best person to execute or to benefit from this. I don't want him to benefit from it anymore, because maybe of our relations then, or maybe it's my son. I'm seeing that now he's living a riotous life. I want to change and give another one who is more responsible. Can I have a clause is there provision to edit?
Okay, when you talk of the
Sorry, my counsel, have we exhausted the questions?
Yes.
So that we can answer all of them?
Yes, so far these are the three. It was up. Okay, the fourth one.
Yes, I will say maybe give us the the cost implication on the transfer of property to the beneficiaries versus the trust, the will and the trust. The will isn't that the property will come to me, and the transfer cost and everything that is money in relation.
Okay, thanks very much.
Let me just summarize the questions. Dipotso bo mme batsadi ba me ke gore ha ke dira mokwalo wa pelo ya dithoto tsa me ka tshepo go tsamaisa go a dikokomaneng a ga gona ditshenyegelo tsa tsone ka gore batho ba tle ba tsamaisa ka eng mo dingwageng tse tsotlhe tse di tlabe di ya le dikokomane ga ba duelwa jang go tsenya dithoto mo peelong e ya tshepo a gone ga go tlhoke madi ka sengwe le sengwe se tlhoka madi a gore go tsamaisiwe go na le budget e tshwanetse gore e be le teng ya tsamaiso ya peelo e ga ka ke a itsamaisa hela go sena ditshenyegelo be ba botsa gape le gore le yone peelo e ya tshepo a gona le gore kana le ha ile yone ya mokwalo a gona le ha gore tsetane e tla letlang gore ke nne ntse ke ntsha batho ke tsenya ba sele ke ntsha batho ke tsenya ba selo a go mo go na le ditshenyegelo le gone ya ga mme hale ga ke itse gore a ke go arabile ka ke kry-a gore ke capturile potso ya gago gore tota ditshenyegelo tota re lebile ditshenyegelo tsa go nna re sutisa kwa re ntse re ya dikokomaneng ditshenyegelo tsa teng di balelwa ga kae di beelwa ga kae ditshenyegelo tsa teng ya me le nna potso ke gore go ya dikokomaneng dithoto tse a ke tsa di-property hela ke utlwa go bua ka property kana gompieno re na le a re tseye gore ke tabe ke nna le an online business ke rekisa diaparo ka lefaufau e leng gore le ga ke seo tla be ntse e tsenya madi into this ghost account gompieno ga se di-property tse di tshelang hela yaanong a peelo e tla be tsenya dithoto tsa metse e leng gore the immovable but ga se matlo ga ke tsora ke a tlhalosa le ka tlhalosetsa tsala me council ga gore dithoto tse a kana dikgomo tse e leng gore di tswela ntse di tsala kana ke di-property hela in terms of immovable sorry ho
okay, let me answer the questions asked. The first one is about the cost.
My elder.
Yes.
Let me just explain her question. The last one is the things that are being put into the trust. Is it just properties or other valuables? Like if you have a business, an online business, it has an account, Today we have valuable things which might not necessarily be tangible properties. So she's asking about that.
Sophisticated. Let me start by about a will, right? We're not talking about the executive, we are talking about a will, right? You can change your will anytime. What we consider is the last version. Even if you want, you can change it every day. Depending on your pressure. Then a will, it's if you want, you can draft it by yourself, right? But if you think that is we have complex properties, you want a lawyer to assist you with the drafting a will, then you can. But a will, you can even draft it by yourself, right? Yes. So it's a little bit cheaper that way. That you can just write whatever. But if your properties are complex, you can say, I want a lawyer to say that it's well done. But now, a trust is registered, is drafted and registered on your behalf by a lawyer who is called a notary public, right? So it's a deed of trust, like your title deed for the house, right? Title deed or other deeds. Yes, lawyers, a lawyer there's a lawyer who's registered to practice as a lawyer, right? But for you to transfer houses, you must be registered as a conveyancer, right? For you to draft these deeds, you must also be registered as a notary public. All together. But usually, for example, lawyers who graduated from University of Botswana, they register as an attorney. Then after a year or so, they also register as a conveyance and other practice because they've already done that. They qualify. So most of lawyers, they are those three. They are 3 in 1. But usually we call them lawyers. But they are attorneys, conveyancers, and notary public. So it's a 3 in 1. So there are registration fees for the lawyers. Unfortunately, I don't know the actual figure, but they are not that exorbitant, those fees, right? And it's lodged by, and those fees, they are not from the lawyers yet, they are regulated by the Law Society. So they are tariffs for those documents. So a lawyer will not just out of their head charge you by looking at you and say, hey, this is a fat pocket, so I can charge as much as I want. So they are regulated. Yes, so I can say the charge is the charge because that's the charge. If you want to do that, you have to use that. And then you lodge by the master of high court, right? All the trusts, they are lodged with the master of high court, right? So usually when you said there must be property, usually you say, I donate a sum of 500 pula to the trust. It's enough just to set a trust, right? If you want to put it over that property is there now, you transfer the trust later, right? But for the purpose of registration is just to say, I donate. There must be an amount, even if you say 100 pula, there must be some amount of some sort. There's no minimum which qualify to be in a trust, right? But now you have to transfer. If you transfer houses, ETC to the trust, is the usual way of transferring. Because the trust is a separate person, right? Which can be sued and be sued. Yes. Okay, the trustees really, it's not a profit-making venture to be a trustee. For whether I'm lucky or I'm not lucky, for some reason, people make me trustee, even those who are younger than me, I don't know why. Usually trustees should Yes, a trust is it's to hold things on behalf of the beneficiary, right? So a trust is ordinarily not a profit-making venture, right? Remember, it's there to hold the property. In terms of taxation, it's actually a way of minimizing taxation by forming a trust. I cannot fully explain the differences of what it takes or whatever. I didn't prepare for that, for this presentation. Because what I wanted was there's a level of sensitization. What is the difference between a will and a trust? But in terms of tax, Elder, you want to assist?
Let me just do a bit of translation.
Let's translate. And we are almost winding because the time is up. We cannot finish everything, right? Yes, so I'll answer the question, then I will your question, then I will wind up. There should always be finality.
Yaanong agente wa rona o molemo o tlhalosa gore kana a ka ne re bua gore ke pelo ya dithoto ya tshepo yaanong ga o ka ke wa kgethisa so se se mo pelong ka gore ga se tshela ke re se beilwe yaanong ke tsela gore se ta kgetha ga se mola go tshela ga ke itse na bua gape le gore bone batho ba tsamaisang pelo e ya tshepo ba dira ka bopelo thomogi ba sa atswi ka sepe yaanong o iphitlhela le gore le bo motlana hela ba go go ene ba re a o re thuse go tsamaisa hao maybe ka go sena kitso ba kopa dithuso tsa gagwe a ithaopa yaanong o na a tlhalosa gone gore nya ditshenyegelo tsa tsamaiso ga di a tshwanna go nna tse e leng gore di ta helela di humanegisa tse di beilweng mo pelong ya tshepo ke ditshenyegelo tse e leng gore ga di ntshe mokola.
Yes, my elder here, Elder Chikore, and the very last, I always disappoint people who still have something to say because I say otherwise it will be up to tomorrow. And I think we were given up to 5:30 by the elders.
Jaanong kana gareng ke re nna le go kopana ha gare ga beke re tshwara merapelo ya ha gare ga beke. Yaanong go mo go ira gore re le ofe re ska ra itse gore sabata ya khutha ka gore bona na hela ka sabata. Yaanong kopana mo di cell groupung tsa gago moruti ga ba siane le bona ne ko le ska la thwahalana ka sabata. Yaanong re tilehela go lebogela modimo tshegohatso ya tsatsi leno tse dingwe le tabala ko di cell groupung.
Sorry, your question about what?
About the cost of the will when the property is transferred to me as versus to the trustee.
Yes.
O tlhalositse manseola e mapele go bosigo o tlhalositse a re go na le batho ka semolao ba le bararo mo mothong a le mongwe hela e mapele ka di-charge tseo tsa transfer. Yaanong lawyera ya gago e tshwanetse gore e be ena le mo go teng notary public here a kare.
No, that one is for the trust. Okay, let me answer that one, yes.
Ma?
The taxation rule, in terms of taxes, right? It depends on the beneficiary. For the surviving spouse, it is the matrimonial home, there is no tax for that, right? Also, if the property.
That one, counsel.
Okay, the question was, what are the tax implications if I'm to benefit from things in the will?
As what? You're benefiting as a beneficiary?
You are a beneficiary. There's a will which says you are taking this property, this property, this property. And also, if the property is meant for a minor who is still need upkeep and going to school, that property is not taxed. But the others, there are some brackets of taxation of those property.
Can you explicitly explain that? I don't understand.
She is asking.
No, the brackets.
No, in text, in that they have say for this amount you pay this, for this amount you pay this amount of tax, right? So I'm saying the taxation for inheritance, they are low. They're not like our income tax. They are on the lower side. I don't have figures to say for this is the figure, of it because there are tables which are in the Act. But they are on the lower side. But there are properties which you don't pay tax. I gave you those for the matrimonial house, for the surviving spouse who is inheriting it, and also for property benefit the minor who is still self-supporting, and interestingly, for property which is outside the country, also. Those are the three instances which I can remember offhand.
Jaanong mogakudi mogolo a ge nta rona re makgetho a tusulisiwa ha ile gore go transferiwa go ntshiwa mo maineng a moswi go tsena mo maineng a mopati wa gagwe kana molekane wa gagwe kana tsengwa mo lineng la ngwana o santse a sa kgone go ikarabela kana a tsengwa mo maineng a property e leng gore e ko ntle ga lehatshe la Botswana ga ke sura ke tlhalogantse but go ntse ga gona dituelo okay le kgetho ha property le konte kana e le ya lenyalo kana e le ya ngwana ga o kgethe mme go tla tswa ka selekanyo sa property ya teng gore a ke 2.5 kana ke ntlo ya di milione ko Phakalane kana ke polasi ko Senveld le kgetho le ta le bagana le bokete ja property.
Okay, my elder.
No, I really want to thank you for the good counsel. But I want you to help us here. There are so many parameters at play that we cannot understand just in this session.
Yes.
Yes. How can we avoid the problems that come once we are gone, related to the wills and the trust? I've heard some of it, but from your own wisdom, with the current way we raise children, you know, the way I was raised, because I think my parents didn't have anything for me to be really, really attracted to except their love, okay? I just told myself, I just want somewhere where I can rest nicely and be able to just transport my children to school and back, and not a lot more. So I really feel for those who have a lot, you know, and have children who probably would like to look like them, but not working as hard as their parents. So maybe just bring in some wisdom in conclusion to tell us what to do while we have these children, so that this problem plus what you have said, you know, we can do something so that they are not just wishing to have the things that their parents have. Thank you.
Mogagodi mogolo ke kopa gore ke botse potso e me ke kope ba tia kone gore a re phutheng bana tlhabathung pula yana sabata ya hela re natehelwa ke dipotso ya no ne ke re a re khotlaganeng potso ya ga re pule ke gore ha le gore nna ke le pule ke ne ka agela mentlu ka lorato le nna ke lebile gore ntlunyane e ke ikagetseng ko phakalane petrol ya go isa bana sekolong ko mo goditsaneng tekane yaanong a bana ba ha ka ntse ke ba tlamela yana dikeletso tsa bone a di a go heta ha nna ke kgonneng go ba isa teng be ba hela yaanong ba tswa mo tseleng ke nna ke ba godisetseng mo go yone ke ba tsenya mo tumelong le mo bolekanyong jo nna ke bokgonneng a ke tsora ke tlhalose re pule.
Yeah, it's fine now. Then Elder Chikore and Elder, those last, then I wind up.
We want to go home.
Sorry.
No, I don't want to go home as such, but I was given timelines by the elders.
Okay.
I don't know the reasons. Perhaps there are other things that are waiting after that.
Okay.
Yes.
Mine is not a question or comment. It's just to read something that was sent by someone watching online. I think they were trying to comment, but they couldn't. So they sent me their comment. They said, I wanted to comment when he was still talking about wills. The focus is on distribution of financial assets, but wills serve many purposes, and one of the most important for Adventists may be to direct who will be your children's guardian and how they will raise your children in your absence. You can outline the principles you wish your children to be raised under. Also, Mama Zengwe's issue can and should be addressed in a will. You can protect your property from being inherited by people who are not your descendants. This is a comment by Neo Ma Tomelang.
Oh, thanks very much.
Me matlhomelang wa tlhalosa gore le ha o sa khona go bona na kwa go kwala mokwalo wa pelo ya tshepo le mo dikeletsong tsa gago o khona go kwala dio tse tsotlhe tse di nitameng gore ha ke batle masika a me a tshwara sepe sa mele monna le bongwanake o khona go kwala gone gore ga ke eletsa dithuto tsa me di tswelela go a dikokomaneng ka mabaka a le ka tsela e ntseng jana gore mokwalo wa gago wa dikeletso o ka suboka tse tsotlhe go ya go dikokomaneng ka ha wena kana ka ha mokwadi a eleditseng ka teng.
Yes, thanks very much for the comment, Neo. That's our religious liberty leader. So it's a comment, not a question. And lastly,
yes, sir. I just wanted to ask one: if a will was created by the testator, I don't know whether that's what you call the person who creates the will, but then after their death, can the beneficiaries of the will decide to establish a trust over the inheritance? Another question I have: if you are what happens to at the death of the founder? What happens? Is there anything that has to be done? The final portion of the question is, when you take an asset, any asset, and give it to your, put it under the trust, when you are alive, can you later move that asset out of the trust? Thank you.
Dipotso tsa ga re Yalala Ditharo ke ta simola ka bohelo ha o dirile peelo ya dithoto ka tshepo a mo botshelong ja gago ha ntse e tshela peelo e o ka ntsha dithoto mo teng wa di tsamaisa ka go sele ya bobedi ke gore ha wena mokwadi kana mothomi wa peelo e o tlhokagala kana ke mabaka a mokwalo wa dikeletso kana a peelo ya tshepo go diragala a morago ga leso la gago ya boraro ke gore ha o sa kwala sepe ka peelo e ya tshepo ya dithoto go a dikokomaneng a bana bone ka bo bone hela ba ka ikopanya ba re nyame a re tlaleletse mo dikeletsong tsa batsadi ba rona re dire peelo ya tshepo go ya go dikokomaneng tse di tlatlang ha ke tsura ke swere re yalala.
Okay, thanks very much. When the founder dies, the trustees are still there, they continue with the trust. That's number one. A trustee is a person at law, so it can own property, and if you want to deal with it, the trustee can decide what to do with the property. Remember, you were saying, perhaps you are alive, you're saying, yeah, but this property, I want to take it out of the trust. Then as the trustees, you have to agree, then you do the transfer to whatever you want to be done.
Can you also cover what you were saying about the transfers, her concern about the transfers?
Okay, let me answer his third question. The third question was about which was your first one? What was about it? The first one. Oh, can they make a trust? Right. Yes. The simple way is that the will of the deceased is in the will, right? Yes. So if it is a new will of those who are alive to deal with that property in that way, then they can make it a trust if they want. But remember, this property is given to them specifically, then they have to pass it on to the new person who is called a trust, right? Yes. That one can happen.
Now, I'm on duty with Re Zimbabwe.
Yes.
But we haven't discussed this. Just to deal with the matter, let's close the Sabbath. It is from sundown to sundown, okay? Yes. So you can't go on forever, but be at liberty to take questions for as long as you are still having energy to go on. We have until sundown. I just wanted to say that. 6:30 would be the limit, but we can't go that far, I think. But thank you.
Okay. Yes, Elder. Pastor. Then, because his issue was, I should summarize the core things, right? Yes, so I will deal with what the pastor has said and what you have said. Yes.
The first point that I wanted to say is these things that we have been learning from morning up to now, they are simply saying, one, you are a custodian, you are a steward of God's things. And therefore, while you are alive, arrange how this thing will continue to serve God even when you are gone. The second point that I got from your presentation since morning is that you do all that you can to protect your loved ones when you are alive, and even when you are gone, they still should be protected. Knowing the family where I come from, I wrote a will. And in this will, my wife went and told my younger brother that, do you know that your brother has written a will that when he dies, he will be buried in Botswana? And my brother said to her, you are just playing. Was he okay when he was writing that will? When I realized that, knowing who the family where I come from, I came and changed that will. And saying I'll be buried in the nearest graveyard. And the people who will decide where I'll be buried is my wife and the children. I'm trying to do this, or I was trying to do this, to protect them, because I know my brothers will say, let the body come home, and they will not contribute even a table for that. Now, two testimonies that I know so close. I pastored a member who had a joint will with the wife, and apparently they died at the same time through a road accident. Now, knowing this culture, that a man don't just die, they had written that will, and the will was very particular. So they expected that they are going to get something from the late. When the will was read, the will specified every single thing that they owned, including the spoons and the socks and the shoes. The brothers, who are uncles now to the children who are left, they were tongue-tied because there's nothing that they could have done. Another couple died some years back in Botswana, and the man had written a will protecting the wife. So the family came when they came. They came not to sympathize and to bury, but they came for things. So they came and grabbed the car, they took the TV, and they left. The wife went to police and reported of the missing car. While the brothers arrived at the border, they were arrested. When they were arrested, it is the will that saved this wife and the children. Lastly, I want to say to the church that God is not only particular to the time you are alive, but even when you are gone, He is so much interested on how what He gave to you will continue to serve Him, and He is so much interested on how your family will move on. That's why in the book of Timothy chapter 1, chapter 5, 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8, he says what I'm going to read. He says, but if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his house, he had denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Now, even when you are gone in the grave, you need to continue providing for the family. If you die and life goes on a standstill because of your poor thinking and because of hearing these things and you don't act, you would have died worse than a non-believer. So when your children are going to this particular school that you know, even when you are gone, they still must be going to the same school. They should not drop the school today because the father or the mother is gone. Life must continue as it was. So this is a very important lesson, and I want to say to you, my brother, this lesson probably is repeated for the 50th time in a couple of years that have attended Central Church. But the people we hear, we don't do anything. We come again, we hear, we get excited, you know, our emotions are raised up, and then we do nothing. I think it's a high time that this thing, we move into action. You know, as pastors, sometimes we we have got this privileged information to see what happens behind the curtains, especially when our loved ones are gone. Sometimes it's a shame, it's a mockery, even to God's name, when you find that the heathens are discussing the things that belonged to one who feared the Lord. Thank you.
Muruti, Baba Mutumishi, my father there, is telling us that this is a commandment from God. Ra? I wa kanye ya mokwalo wa keletso tsa gago le dithuto tsa gago tsa pelo. Ke commandment ke ka swana. It doesn't sound strong though. Commandment sounds strong. Ke taolo, taolo is very light, but ke taolo tswa mo modimong. Thailwe mo goreng modimo ga o batle go tlhabisiwa ditlhong ke badumedi. O eletsa gore matshelo a rona a tswelele ka go mogalaletsa le mo bosiong ja rona. Go re ska ra tshela ka tlhakatlhakano le dio tse tsotlhe tse re tla be re di kwala ra be re sireletsa seriti sa ba ba salang bana ba ba salang a ha dikai tse di mmalwanyana ka diemo tsa gore o kila a bolella mohumagadi wa gagwe gore nna ma ke kwadile gore ha ke tlhokagala ke itlhele mono mo gae mo Botswana. Bjano mohumagadi a itebetse a ba bua gore nyana ra go hitla kgaitsedi ko re nnang teng ko gae ko Botswana. A re ka pohe go a tloka go hetola mokwalo ho ka bogale ja bo mogolowe kana bo kgaitsedi a re nya go le go ke tla be ke le teng ke swela teng mosadi wa mele bo ngwana ke ba tang Peter. Yaanong o na bua gore ke taelo leng gore re tla be re leuhile tota ha re ka se re dire mekwalo e mme ebile wa kgopisega ka gore gangwe le gape borra molao ba phuthego ba ema gape le ga rona ba re neela dithuto tse mme re matla pa hela go utlwa ra rarelwa ga re dire kana ga go wa bo gona le bone bo spirit of delay ya fire be re diega motho a ba tlhokagala ka re yaanong ha re tswa ha taelo ya modimo a ye go diragadiwa re ko go ba ka re thusang go ba dikeletso tsa rona ga go haepegileng teng ka gore re tla be re tswa mo tshwanong ya modimo ya gore dio tsa modimo di rulagangwe modimo a ska nyadiwa ebile a ska a sutiwa a tlhabisiwa ke ditlhong ke bolao ja rona a re tlhomamiseng gore ha re tswa ga matoto a re go dira re ska ra nna go utlwa hela mme re sa dire tla be re tlhabisa modimo ditlhong ba dumedi amen.
Okay, Elder Mokoted, then Elder Mpedziswa, then I will answer these three at once.
Okay,
I'm still seized with your question.
Right. Here's a question from one member watching. A question from one member watching online says, "Can a will be successfully challenged in the court of law, like when parents decide not to benefit their minor children in their will? Can it be challenged in the court of law if they've decided not to benefit their minor children in that will?"
Yes, I think that one.
Potso a sekgwanyana ya re a motsadi o ka ska a neele bana boswa ka ha se molaong baba ke bana ke a re ke bana ba banyenyane baba ko tlase ga gone mo au ba ka itsheka bana kana yang.
Yes, the simple answer. Yeah, the simple answer is yes. It can. I cannot say challenge as such, but those who are benefiting from that estate are entitled to get their maintenance first. They get their maintenance from the estate first. Let's say you've got children, then you just donate everything to your friend. Who just say the children should benefit first as their maintenance, their welfare. If if the welfare takes everything, then that beneficiary gets nothing. All together. But if after you take the welfare of the children, perhaps it's a very huge estate, perhaps. Then there's a remainder from that, then that beneficiary can get. But you cannot just disinherit your dependents. Yes, you cannot disinherit your dependents successfully in a will. They will still get.
Mogakolodi mogolo a re ha bana ba ile di minor kana ba ha ke tsore minor ke ile bana ba gago ba o ba tlhokomelang ha o ka se go ba tsenye mo dikeletsong tsa gago gore ba tlhokomelwe ba santse ba le ko tlase ga go itlhokomela go a patika ka ha molao gore ba tlhokomelwe ka sengwe le sengwe se o nang naso go itlhela ba itlhella ha e leng gore le bone ba ka itlhokomela teng mme anong ha ba setse ba kgona go itlhokomela ka thuso ya dithoto tsa estate ya gago mo go tla be go salela yo mo kwadileng gore dithoto di ye go ene go tla be go ya ko baneng a ke tsora ke tshware sentle ma
Yes, so if in practical terms, you just say the will is read, the minor children are excluded, you just go to the master of ICON and say, for example, my husband left a will, but not include me and the minor children. Now, I also want to benefit from it. So the master of ICON, who is the upper guardian of all minor children, will now make provisions so that they benefit.
Ya no ba bua gore molao o sireletsa mo tlhokagaletswe le bana gore ba ska ba sala ba sotlega le ha monga dithoto a ka tswa di kweletse motho o sele ba tla nna ntse ba tlamelwa ba tshela botshelo jone jo ja ba botloetseng ka dithoto tseo le ha di ka tswa di kweletse motho o sele a ke tsora ke tsore se
Yes, Elder.
Thank you. I thought I had put in place a very watertight will until you reminded me that let us not forget God's church. So I'm just wondering whether it should be central church or conference or I do what I want. But thank you for reminding me. I have to rush back to my will to sort out the church component.
Thanks very much, Elder.
Thank you.
And then, Elder, your question now, your issue now. Yes.
The pastor says it must be specific. So if I say Gaborone Central Church, let it be that.
Yes, it's always good to be specific. And it's always good to be in your church, right? But you can, if it depending on the level, if you want to say Central Church gets this amount, GWS gets this amount, it's up to you. And it's allowed. The conference gets this amount, but it must be specific.
And so that the poor, what happens?
Yes, if you
give to government, you give to.
No, you can give to
an NGO maybe
of your choice, and I hope. If the church is something which is running for charity, you can also, it's also the need, right? It's always good when you are doing through the church because you know that there are mechanisms which are for monitoring those things which are protected. Because some NGOs,
kitchen.
Yeah, because not all NGOs are really NGOs in practice.
I think what they're saying, it's important to emphasize that being specific is important. For example, if you write your will and they say that the Seventh-day Adventist Church will benefit, that will you are saying, it goes directly to the union office. Whereas in your mind is that the money or whatever should come to Central Church.
Yes.
So it will be contrary to that which you had in the heart. So it's important to be specific that this benefit is going straight to Central Church or it's going to Mogodisane, without which then you are saying the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the country on that.
Yes. It also have, thanks very much for that clarification. Then, Elder, the choice we have
I'm sorry, Agente, Senior Counsel. I think we need to clarify the one about removing your children from the will, because we are talking about minor children, but there could be biological children that you don't put as beneficiaries. You just say, when I die, I give everything to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and you don't include your heathen children, you know? So what does the law say about, adult children who you disenfranchise maybe because they are not Adventists and you give everything to the church? I'm just giving a scenario like that.
Yes, the question you are asking in legal terms was saying, do adults, children have the right to be maintained by their parents? Yes, it's about legal right. Isn't that you are saying the minor children have a right to be maintained by their children? It's a matter of right, right? It's a matter of law you have. That's why they automatically have to. If they, because, it's like issue of maintenance. Usually maintenance is paid up to 18 years, right? But if you can prove that I am now above 18, but I still need the maintenance of my parents, simply because perhaps I'm still a school-going child, I need these things, or this reason, that if that parent was even just before the demise of the parent, was even maintaining me, and I'm in third year out of 5 years, I'm still support he was giving, yes, you can go and claim for the maintenance out of that will, if you are excluded. But generally, parents have no legal right to look after their adult children. That's a general rule, but there are exceptions. Yes, so Elder, to your issue, you have to...
For the online.
Okay.
Kama ho kwa mangwe molao wa go golola gore o skwa wa ha bana boswa ha ile keletso wa gago ha setse ile bana ba ba ka itlhokomelang kana ba ka supa hela gone gore me ga re gone go tshela go ntle ga tlhokomelo ya motsadi o ileng.
Okay, thanks very much. Elder, you have to look at your children specifically to say, should I share with them individually their property, then they do whatever they do, then they can move on separately in a will? Or I think if I do so, some may use it inappropriately to their own detriment, and the others may be forced to look after other children because they cannot leave their siblings like that. Or you say, if it likes that, it is okay, you have insulted your children, because usually you say, I think they can manage on their own. Then you decide to put them on their own. But if it's that, I think they need to collectively, some need to control. Then a trust would do more, because it's not the individual decision which triumphs in a trust. Right? The trustees. Okay, let me start. I know sometimes I can be fast and swallow some of my words. I will try to be slow. The question is, remember the question was saying, what are the things, what are the main things, just general, right, which I can do, right, given the children of these days, how they are, right? General question. So I'm saying the first thing is to choose the correct vehicle or instrument. Whether you want to give them individually, then they work and do their lives separately, or you want them, they may be beneficiary, but they may be trustees who are making prudent decisions for them. Right? Then number two, what you should also do, let your family know what assets the family has and where are they. It's very important. I'm told of someone who said, the children will take all my cattle, right? So these cattle were at the cattle post, and there are 5 people who are sharing the same cattle post. So our father told us that we have got 750 cattle. Said, okay, which ones are they? Point them. We know that he has only 250 or 200. So sometimes if children know, the family know where the assets are there and whatever, it helps. Because some of the children have never been to that cattle post. They don't even know how it looks like, right? They will go there for the first time for distribution. And they said, they have 750. Which ones? Those are not your... So it becomes, because it's very... I hear that this actually happens, it is happening. Exactly. So it's important so that the assets are identified. It empowers them so that they know what exactly is there. Some people also do some actually privately they buy houses. Not even knowledge of either spouse, right? Yes, they do, people. Sometimes usually we say that it usually happens with men. But these days, even women also, their sisters, brothers will know, but you are just sitting there, don't even know that your wife is building some house there. Exactly, they've got their... Yes. Women are also very much empowered these days, right? Exactly. So you may not even know what is happening. And that property, you may not even... Although they may not change the name, but others can use it and even rent it out without your knowledge for a very long time. As it is inheritance. So it's important to know what actually everyone should be involved in knowing what exactly is there. Even shares, other things which are not even, they must be known. So that there must be a clear register of what the family owns. And the other beauty of this thing...
Maybe I can just summarize that one, that mreha ka bokhutswane a re go botlhokwa gore lelapa le itse dithoto tse di leng teng. Go nne le an asset register, registera ya gore ke le mmase mamang ke na le ditshimo tse di kwa ga rona, ke na le ditshimo tse di mo tseo hela jalo re ska ra hithalana dithoto. Wena wa ga tsa go tsa motshelo ko kana ena na le tse di nyatsi ko gore mongwe le mongwe a kgobokanyetse dithoto gone go le itse di registera tsa lona. Ya no yengwe ya ntla botlhokwa ene ba ibua ke gore le tsone dithoto tse ga ka bana ba bona mokwalo go tenya ke na le dikgomo dile 1000 ko plasing ya me ko Banyana Farms. Be ba Banyana Farms kana ke go kae ba Google Map Banyana Farms ha ba tsana kwa ba ithela place ya ga governmente ba go tnyana re yana re bone mokwalo ga ga go le dikgomo tse o kwano tseo ya no ne ba re na ne ka re ba di tlhokomele kana ene mme a re ba di bolelelwe a ke tsora ka bolelelwe dikgomo sa di itse but
Yes, and lastly, some have also tried to say their inheritance, even if you are made in community of property, but they have excluded inheritance property.
Ba bangwe ba khona gore e re ba le motlhakaneleng dithoto be ba loba tse leng gore di tla go go bone le tsa boswa ba re nya tse ga se tsa tlhakanelo dithoto ke tsa boswa mentse le tlhakaneletse dithoto le mo bosweng.
Yes, to avoid that situation where someone getting married, the other one dies, it ends up in the completely wrong hands. Those are wrong hands, right? Because they were not supposed to benefit from. Yes.
If you are married, again, in community of property.
Yes.
And then your spouse gets inheritance. And that inheritance doesn't get transferred to her name. You understand what I'm saying? But it is known to be her property, but it has not been transferred to her name. Is there a provision in the law to cover the other spouse who probably is coming with a different surname? And does not have links, or, well, there is a link in that they are married, wabon. But if the other spouse is not there, they could easily be pushed away to say, you have no standing here. Tsameraku.
Yes.
Is there something that can cover you in the law?
I think I'll also ask that one. Can in-laws be disinherited when they're married in community of property if those properties are not transferred into the names of the beneficiary? Go on.
Well, the law says within 14 days of death, you should have registered the death for administration of the estate, right? Within 14 days of death, you should go to the Master of High Court there and register that there is this death, so in the properties, you start the process of administration of the estate, right? And there let's say there are houses. You are given authority to say this house is distributed to this to A, right? This one to B. With that authority, you go now to the deeds for the transfer of those property into your actual name, right? You see the process? No, not within 14 days. 14 days is just to register that, to notify that there's a death. To notify, yes. Yes, but you have to run. Yes, you have to run. Yes. So, let me just explain. So now, you are saying, although because I want to see the authority of saying the spouse has been given this. This by after administration, or is just at what stage are we here? When we say, okay, if my spouse has this property but it's not yet in her name, at what stage in this line? Because in the court, you get the authority to say, okay, this property goes to this. With that authority, it now empowers to benefit from the transfer from the deceased to the living.
Within what time frame?
No, the time 14 days is just about the notification of death, right? The High Court. So that is you start the processes. But after the process, because there are many things to be done, the creditors. It can take depending on there can be some who are opposing the process, etc. But I was just saying 14 days is just the beginning of the process. So my problem with your question is that at what stage you are saying this property is for my spouse, but not yet in a name. Even a car, they will say, okay, this car is given to this one. With that, then you go to there's authority for you to go to change the blue book into the new owner. So I'm trying to imagine a scenario where someone has been given, but it's not transferred the name. That was my conceptual problem, which I have to answer your question.
And then we follow up on it, or we are gonna, because there are more questions I think that we can ask from that one.
Okay. Yes. I hope these two are the last. They must be. I know that the elders have given us permission, but there should also be finality. Yes. I know my job is to teach. I always stand for hours, but I've stood.
Yeah, you must be tired. We are sorry.
I've stood enough for one day.
Earlier in the presentation, you made an example, or you gave us a story of a person who was given some property from the parents, but the person was married, and then that person died, and then, that scenario. I want to know if you have inherited a property and you are married in community of property, but that property is also used by your family members, and it was from your side of the family, whichever spouse. My question is, how do you protect that property not to be part of the marriage property, such that your family members will not be taken, maybe chased, if in case I pass away and then, or my husband passes away and then the remaining spouse says, no, this was my husband's property, now I'm taking it because it has been her inheritance. But family members need to use that property and probably stay there.
Yes, as you.
Just ask, it is important in Setswana. Ha le nyalane ka tlhakanelo dithoto. Mongwe wa ba ka pelo kana ba lelapa, the partners, banyadi. O mongwe a na le boswa ja tshimo kana property ka ke sore keng e leng gore tshimo ya dirisiwa ya lengwa mme ke boswa ja yo mo nyalong. Ke dira yang na o e leng gore tshimo ke boswa jame gore e ska ya hella e latlhegela ba ba e lemang na ke le boswa jame mme ke le motseong ya tlhakanelo dithoto le gore tshimo e ska tswa mo lesikeng la rona ka ntlha ya nyalo ya tlhakanelo dithoto a ke tsora ke yone mo.
Yes, so as you enter into the marriage in a community of property, right? Remember, now, for instance, every marriage is, by default, is out of community of property, right? But it's you who choose. So you do what is called an antenuptial contract, right? So this my marriage will be in community of property, whatever you say there. Then you say, however, any inherited property does not form part of the community. Altogether.
Emma Pele Senior Council, I don't know if I heard you correctly, or every marriage is out of community of property by default.
Yes.
Okay. Tse ngwe le ngwe e ka kontle ga tlhakanelo dithoto ha o sa kwale ka mokwalo pele ga nyalo gore re a go tlhakanela dithoto aka go ga molao digote ale a tlhakanela kana ga le tlhakanele ke so mokwalo o kono o tshwentse gore o bo kwala gore re tlhakanela dithoto kontle ga tsa boswa ha lo dira a ke itse.
So what happens if it is done, you inherit while you are now married in community of property? Can you go and now say, I want to add to my initial what? A
gona le kgonagalo eo ya gore ha le sa dira gore kontle ga dithoto tsa boswa a nka tsamaya le mokapelo wa me ra gore nyame re ska ra tsenya tsa boswa mo dithotong tsa tseo ya rona ka gore di tla tsengwa hela le ha re sa kwala.
It's called an antenuptial contract. So it's a contract, you can vary its terms. It's a contract, like any other contract. Yes. So you can vary, you can change your contract. Or you can opt out completely to say, I'm changing my regime from in community to out of community if you want. It's still allowed.
O hetole kana o tswe mo tlhakaneleng dithoto ka gore ke contract ke tumalano ya semolao e ka hetolwang kana ya helediwa hela ya nyelediwa gotlhelele e tumalano ya teng.
Yes, I think you have the last hand.
And power of attorney for finance while we are still in the sound mind.
Yes.
So, my question is, do we do this power of attorney without the knowledge of our spouses and our children?
No, this one is not harmful at all. They can know. Just to say, in the event that I am mentally incapacitated or whether by age I cannot make those decisions, this one should take over and make the decision on my behalf. right? Finance decision and also medical decisions. Yes.
Cannot be challenged by other.
Because
sometimes they may think that I've given it to Tabologo, then Tabologo, as he's running around with me in the medical, he's benefiting. So can someone challenge that I've given a power of attorney to someone without their agreement, consent?
No, you see, yes, we are. What you are saying there is a moral standard, right? To say, why this one, no, this one, no. But a legal standard is that you give, it's a more individual standard. It's not a group standard, as you are saying, legal standard. As long as you are of sound mind, the power of attorney is actually you sign before a lawyer, and the lawyer says that he drafts that in case I'm no longer able to make financially sound, right? This one you should do this, right? But I'm not saying if that other person is making wrong decisions, the other interested party cannot challenge what they are doing altogether. But it's valid. But should you, for example, it may be share, let's say the parents form a company, they are shareholders in a company, right? And then the shareholders are the ones who appoint directors, remove directors, all of stuff, right? Then they are all, they are influenced by some children by the side, right? Then there will be, then we say, these parents are, and there's no any power of attorney there. These parents are now being influenced. You can say, the children, these parents, I think at their age or whatever, they are advanced, they're not making sound decisions, they're being influenced by another children, right? But now, let's say there's a power of attorney. They say in the event that I cannot make this decision, then X, they can say one of the child will make decision. Then you see that decision is making, that child who was given is making decisions which are not in the interest of the company. You can still challenge, you can challenge that. Say, okay, yes, it's valid, but the way it is exercised is not improper. Altogether.
Yes. Can you go on further? Continue with her question about the second part of her question.
Which one?
Of the finance.
Is
that the same thing?
And the health.
And the health, yeah.
Yes,
They're the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But usually the health is where you say, where you're going to make your decision about your, should I get, for example, there may be options. Should you get this operation? Should you whatever? Should you be removed from the life support? Should you whatever? You cannot make those decisions, right? Yourself. Or, so it's the same principle.
But that person can take me to the Sangoma.
But I think, as you write, that it's not just a blank, it is a special power of attorney for specific purpose, right? You may give your principles there to say in this way. I don't know, Elder, this health thing, perhaps you have encountered it, where you have seen the actual documents where they were saying I should be treated in this way. Sorry, okay, sorry. I should always be here. Do you have any comment on that?
Thank you. My comment is that when it comes to giving the power of attorney to somebody to look after your health, you must be specific, because if you are not specific, they may do certain things that you would not have agreed with. For example, they may keep you for eternity under life support when you did not want to be kept under life support. But it is important that you must be able to say, in the event that I am this way, I'm incapacitated, the following should be done, and this person is the one who will do it for me.
Thank you very much, Elder. So the principle is that it's not a blank check, right? It's a check with some limited figures, right? Yes.
Mogolwane ha ne ba tlhalosa bagolwane gore go na le gore go nne le mokwalo o ka sekgwa go the power of attorney mo e leng gore motho o hilwe go go emela ka semolao mo dikganyeng tsa botsogo le dikgang tsa go itshetsa ke re ra di finance yaanong mekwalo e ha o hile motho gore mo bokweng jame kana mo ke sa kgoneng go itirela ke ha kana ke lesika kana ke lawyera kana ke ngwana dithata tsa semolao gore a ntsamaisetse go na le dintlha tseo ka di kwalang gore ha ntsamaisetse ka ha semolao botsogo jame ga ke eletse gore ke dire loaro le pelele ka nkwahatsang ka ke tsohetse ke ha se kae o ka dira mokwalo o kgannang gore le ha ke hile ngwana o dithata ga ke eletse a ka kgokgontsha batsalwa le ene mme gape le ha o sa dira jalo ba leng gore motho o yaanong dithata tsa gago ga di ba tseye sente ba kgona go itsheka ba re nyame jaanong o ka re motho o dithata tsa di neetsweng ga se tlhola a tsamaisa ka ha tshiamong yaanong ke na tlhatswa gone gore go na motho dithata ka ga se molaong le gone go tshwanetse gore bogole mo sekereseteng sa gore re latise seriti sa se bodimo le sa tumelo re se ka ra sekegela go go itireleng le go kgopisa seriti sa modimo mo bathong.
Thanks very much. This is the end of our presentation. Pastor Matwete has already given the key elements, the summary in his contribution. Thank you very much.
I was waiting for that one. That is why I wanted the retirement plan. That's why I was pushing that we get there, my elder. So next time, is there a song? Maybe we can do number one. Does anybody have the Christian song, number one?
Can we stand up with number one? Let's stand up with number one. And Elder Mkoted will pray for us.
All stanzas.
First and last stanza.
Okay, just to remind the church as you are standing, 2, 3 things. The first one is that we are starting a crusade in Naledi tomorrow. Please do make it a point that we attend. Do you know that peradventure, it might be that your role is just to turn up. And maybe that's all that God wants from you. Maybe that when you are there, you shake someone's hand and they feel welcome. You encourage someone with your singing. And who knows, that individual might go on and be used by God in a mighty way. So please, let us turn up. I think the other one is that next Sabbath, around this time, we'll start our business meeting. I hope the board will arrange some watermelon and something like that so that you don't faint before the meeting is over. The last one, Muruti has talked about the fact that this is not the first time we've had this topic, and it's not the last time. We need to be practical, brethren. We need to do something about it. So what we'll do, I'm not sure about next week's program. I mean that it's PM, I think we might be going out or something like that. But what we will do through Senior Council here, we will bring samples of a will next week. And if it's possible, next week. And share with the members in the church. We'll do both soft copy and hard copy. The church is not forcing anyone to do a will, but we will encourage all of us, at least a will. The trust, you need to go see a lawyer, right? But for a will, we will do a sample. We'll watermark it to say it's a sample, but we'll hand it over either this coming week or the next time it's possible, because we're not sure about next week. And then after that, we'll make a follow-up. And maybe a week or two later, to say, now that you've had a sample, have you done this? And from then on, we will gently follow the brethren so that those who need help get help. And this is done. I think we can pray now. Arapeleng. Kind of loving Redeemer in heaven, we thank you, Father, for the time we've had this Sabbath. Thank you for the blessings we've had. Thank you for the worship blessings we've had and for the fellowship we've had as well. As we part this evening, we ask that your presence is with us, and that as we start off another week, you lead us and be with us. Bless each and every one of us who are here, those online, and those who could not make it this afternoon. Until we meet again tomorrow in Naledi, we ask that your presence is with us, Heavenly Father. There's a humble prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
No, it's fine. Thank you very much, H.E. Somebody forgot his or her specs, if we know. Thank you. The owner is found. We will ask Miss Mulefi to sing for us as we file out. Yes.
Usher the church with it.
Next time. All right. Yeah, we'll do it next time. Thank you.
May we please sing number 136 as we go out? Kwa kankisang kitaya. Yeah, let's go. Kwa kankisang kitaya, kitutila kumuikanya, ke gakolo gela khuri, ontabetsu kalifari, Jesu otlanko akhate, Jesu otlanko atila, kitela ebu ikayo, ki khakuluha lalosu, kitsamaya tau lo yakhwe, ene ankhoga monate khura ta khakwe huitsapisi Calvary, Jesu otlanko ga gotle Jesu o tla go ga tsela ke tsela e bu ikanyo ke gakolo Thank you very much for coming.